It's time. Finally, a show for you. A once-a-week extravaganza, giving you the weekend's movies, the week's cons and entertainment events, what is worth watching on television for the week, the weekly comic book, novel, game, and collectible releases, as well as entertainment news and information. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture. It's Pop Culture Kaboom with your host, Jimmy Jones.
Hello, world, and welcome to the Pop Culture Kaboom radio show. It is our first show of 2024. Spencer Stoner is here.
I am.
Rob Nault is here.
Hello.
He's behind the big board and prepared to take your calls. And I, your not so humble host of all things Pop Culture Kaboom, Jimmy Jones. Well, I'm here to run my mouth like I do every Sunday night. And tonight we will give you everything you want, everything you need from pop culture entertainment with the latest news and information from the past week and some sneak peeks at releases coming out for next week. The Pop Culture Kaboom radio show is also your place on the radio dial for you to talk about your favorite fandoms, regardless of what those are, as long as they fit into the 7 pillars of pop culture entertainment. So, Godzilla seems to be the topic on everybody's mind as of late because of the Toho movie.
Which was awesome.
It was. So, if you have any Godzilla questions, feel free, Godzilla.
Everybody's a fan of that Godzilla.
And tonight we'll be joined by Quizmaster Scott for Sporkle's Pub Quiz with Scott. For our weekly Sporkle Pub Quiz question, we'll be joined by Samuel from Galaxy Theaters in Carson City to find out what is currently playing, what will be leaving the theaters, and what will be opening this week. We'll also be joined by Tony Sanfilippo of Filippo's Horrible Reviews to go over this coming week's movies. And we'll be talking with Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, author, and filmmaker Bill Brown. We'll be talking with Bill Brown about his supernatural thrillers, including his latest After the End, his company Lobos Coast Media, and its current and upcoming film projects. To add your thoughts, comments, talk about your favorite fandoms, or speak with our guests, you can call 775-515-4141, or if you're too shy for the phones, you can send a direct message through the Facebook page. And if you don't have time to comment during the show, but would still like to comment, you can reach us 24/7 by sending an email with your questions, comments, or concerns. Send your emails to popculturekaboom@gmail.com and follow these simple but very important instructions. Actually, I got asked about this on Saturday.
Really?
Yes, about sending emails. Hi, Eric in Whittier, California. Happy New Year. That got him to stop typing.
Anyway, simple directions for emails.
And in the body of the email, please add your first name. No last name is necessary. And I will not read email addresses on the air, so you have to put a name. Also include the city and state or the city and country that you live in. Then fire away with what's on your mind. I respond to each and every email. If you have a specific question for Spencer or Rob, I will forward the email to them to respond back to you. Bear in mind, emails are read on the air unless you specify for it not to be, or you can't follow those simple instructions. Yeah, that was an interesting conversation because I couldn't remember what to put in the header again. I'm like, okay. Cliff from Bridge City, Texas. There's only one movie we're seeing in 2024, and it's definitely going to be Deadpool 3. Can't wait. Okay, thank you for sharing, Cliff.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get a surprise gem in there, but Deadpool 3 is definitely a one to look forward to.
Well, no, that's the only movie we're seeing. Period.
Wow.
According to Cliff.
Dune 2's coming out.
I know. But still, it's Deadpool 3. It's the only movie.
We know where his loyalty lies.
Deadpool 3. Yeah, rather specific.
Very.
Oliver in Las Vegas, Nevada. Is there a list of how many remake movies are coming out in 2024? If so, I'd like to see it. Me too. I just know that there's a lot of rumored remakes going on, like Night of the Comet.
Highlander.
Yeah.
I just heard Enemy Mine.
Last Starfighter is being remade too. It's like... Happy New Year, guys. Hope your New Year's was a good one. Well, it is so far.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah, I was able to get down here, even due to the bad weather. I mean,
yeah, I don't know about that. I woke up to 5 degrees this morning. I was like, what? 5 degrees?
You had 5? Oh, I took my daughter to work when it was -4.
Good God. Ugh. 4 films. There's 4 films that he knows of that are coming out that are remakes this year.
At least, yeah.
Mandy from San Mateo, California. I've heard you talk about this numerous times on the show, and I just got done reading an article about Todd McFarlane saying that 2024 will be the do or die year for Hollywood and the Spawn film. Do you think it'll happen, and why hasn't he just done it himself by now? I have no idea. I really don't. I wish I was in Todd McFarlane's camp to find out why he just doesn't do it, but he hasn't. And I don't know why he's relying on Hollywood. Probably because the actors that he wants to have involved
are all SAG and stuff.
Yeah, so it has to be some kind of film studio involvement, or else he wouldn't be able to have them.
Oh yeah, because didn't he say that Jamie Foxx was going to be Spawn, and then Sam and Twitch were going to be 2 really big parts in it?
Yeah, that's the whole premise. But if Jamie Foxx can be in there without any kind of like Warner Brothers, some
and that might be it.
That used to be, wasn't that the thing, Rob?
What?
That back in the day, actors were contracted to a
Yes,
specific
you were.
studio.
Yeah. Yes, you could be loaned out, to another studio, but
you were signed to a primary
you signed
studio.
a contract with MGM, or you signed a contract with Paramount, and you did movies strictly for them.
Wow.
And they still do that to a certain degree, but not like for a full career.
They do.
So like just for like a number of movies.
They
and
do,
stuff like
or
that.
TV commercials, or appearances. It just depends on like what you're doing, what your capacity is, and what they expect.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is not paid for too either. Like appearances and stuff. Like they expect certain appearances, and it's not like you don't get paid to show up. You already were paid for the movie.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
messed up. All right. So do you think it'll happen? Why hasn't he just done it himself by now? Why is he threatening Hollywood to have outside investors instead of just doing the movie?
Well, there is a rich guy mentality. I'm not saying Todd McFarlane has it. But there is a rich guy mentality of you never spend your own money.
Well, that could be. Well, he's got that toy company he's running, as well as the comic books that he's doing as well. But so who knows? Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't. I think I saw a couple of different things out there. I got your email. I did look it up, and yeah, he did say that he was looking to get investors involved, I guess.
Well,
but
the more money you have, I mean, like Marvel movies are, over $100 million to produce, and if he wants to do something along those lines, I don't even think he has that deep of a pocket.
Well, $100 million though, that's Godzilla kind of blew that whole thought process out of the water. Because that was a $15 million movie, and it's done pretty well for itself. And it's not always
Indeed,
about
it
money, because if so, Clive Barker had actual issues with his films being done by a studio, and they were like done crappily.
Oh yeah, he hated pretty much all of them.
So, yeah. Cole from Mineola, Florida. Mineola, Mineola,
Yep.
Mineola.
Yep.
Mineola, Florida. I am doing an X-Men fan film, and was wondering if you help promote fan films. Depends. Fan films are kind of a touchy subject because I don't want to be involved in your lawsuit.
Right? Yeah. No. Yeah. It depends. Yeah.
So if it's something that's going to get you sued,
It depends on the route that they're going, because there's a lot that are like on the
on the internet and all that. Yeah, I know.
Right, but a lot of them are also at festivals. You know what I mean? And they're shown at festivals. So it's
a lot of the different companies have different guidelines. Like Paramount has very specific guidelines to follow if you want to do, like, say, a Star Trek fan film.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen any Star Trek fan films.
Oh, I have. There have been some great ones.
They're out there.
Yeah, okay.
Just like the Star Trek one. Yeah,
I know there's
Star
a
Trek,
billion
Star
Star Wars ones.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen those.
And there have been some pretty decent Star Wars ones. Some really crappy ones, too.
Yeah.
But
well, that goes for any of them, though.
Yeah, but there are some really surprisingly good Star
There
Wars
is,
ones.
and if you think about it, like, fan fiction leads to other things. The whole 50 Shades of Grey was a whole fan fiction novel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some of the first stuff
into
I
this
wrote.
whole phenomenon.
Yeah, some of the first stuff I wrote before my first novels was fan fiction.
There you go, yeah.
And let me see what Cobra Kai started. I guess I don't know. That started out as a YouTube show, but I don't know if that was like a fan thing or not. But anyway, Well, Eric's movie is being paid for by him.
Go, Eric.
Yeah, more power to you, man.
Disney
Creative
gave him
control,
license,
all
so-
yours.
Well, kind of. Disney gave him license, I guess, but
Well, yeah, but they're
There's-
going to have
there's
strict
guidelines.
guidelines.
the
Yeah.
good mouse giveth, the good mouse taketh away.
Yeah, if you don't follow the guidelines correctly. And
Yeah, so make sure you're following those guidelines there, Eric. All right, so upcoming stuff. You can join me for a brand new Facebook Live presentation. Dreamworld Comics Shop Chatter with Robert and Jimmy, Thursday, January 25th at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Robert, who is the co-owner and manager over there at Dreamworld Comics, and I will be talking Dreamworld Comics, the comic book industry, what's hot, what's not, current speculation, and your comments. Right now, Dreamworld Comics is a comment box for you to submit a question or comment. During the January 25th Shop Chatter with Robert and Jimmy, we will randomly select up to 5 submitted comments or questions and read them live. Then from those 5, by the end of the show, one, because there can be only one, will be selected to receive a gift certificate from Dreamworld Comics. So give Dreamworld Comics a like and or a follow on Facebook. Put your comic book industry or comic book shop question or comment in the comment box at Dreamworld Comics, and enjoy some fun with Robert and I for Dreamworld Comics Shop Chatter with Robert and Jimmy, Thursday, January 25th at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time as a Facebook Live presentation. Well, breaking canon's one thing. I guess that's their only requirement, is that you don't break canon. But what is canon nowadays with Star Wars? I think Kathleen Kennedy changed it to anything that's only been on film.
well, it's hard because they're bringing a lot of stuff that was not canon back into canon. So
Yeah, because when they ended the extended universe, they've reintroduced Thrawn since
Yep.
then. And
The whole
there's
Rebels
rumors of
storyline.
Mara Jade coming back.
there have, but I don't see it actually happening. I just
neither.
don't.
There are now only 244 days until Carson City, Nevada's first ever pop culture and comic book convention, KaboomCon. 97 and Now Productions will be putting on KaboomCon Saturday, September 7th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Follow KaboomCon on Facebook to keep up with details on all the vendors. Sign up for the art contest and the cosplay contest. Keep up on all of the activity announcements and panels that will be taking place throughout the day, and special guest announcements from KaboomCon 2024. A limited number of pre-sale tickets are on sale now through eventbrite.com, and you can go to the KaboomCon Facebook page and click on the link and buy yourself some tickets now while they're still on sale, before they're gone.
Get them while they're hot.
Yep, and a portion of the proceeds from KaboomCon will go to Cold Nose Rescue and Sanctuary in Mount House, and to fund KNBC 95.1 FM Community Radio as well. So, yeah, there's some
worthy
stuff.
causes.
Yeah, a couple of them anyway. So let's get to the big story for the week, and that is one John Williams. Everybody knows who he is, right? John Williams. Basically, you can play any kind of song from a movie, and you would be able to tell if it's John Williams.
The theme track to our lives, if you were alive in the 80s.
It was, well, 70s
The
through
80s,
the
yeah.
80s.
Well, yeah,
and the 90s.
And if you just had to pick one thing, you could just go with 2 notes, and most people would get it.
John Williams is one of the most prolific film composers in the history of cinema. Throughout his career, Williams has been nominated for 52 Academy Awards and won 5 for Fiddler on the Roof, Jaws, Star Wars, E.T., and Schindler's List. He's also known for creating the scores for Superman, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, and more. This year, Williams returned to the Indiana Jones franchise to create the score for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and he previously hinted that the movie could be his last. However, Williams did say earlier this year that he was planning to stick around for a while. In a recent interview with the Sunday Times, the 91-year-old confirmed he is willing to compose again, not decompose, if it's the right project. If a film came along that I was greatly interested in with a schedule that I could cope with, then I wouldn't want to rule anything out. Everything is possible. All is before us. Only our limitations are holding us back, or, to put it more simply, I like to keep an open mind, Williams explained. During the interview, Williams also talked about how the attitude towards film composing has changed throughout his career. 30 or 40 years ago, when I would take a program, spelled all weird, film music to one of our big orchestras, there might be condensation. I understand it. I understand the value.
Condescending.
CONDE, condensation, I think. I understand it. I understand the value of things made in the commercial world and their place in the art world. But now things are different. I'd love to come back in 50 years' time and see what cinema is contributing to the development of new music, because I think young composers will want to work across both. At the beginning of the year, Williams was joined by longtime collaborator Steven Spielberg at the Writers Guild of America Theater in Beverly Hills for an event dedicated to their latest film, The Fabelmans. During the event, Williams talks about his future. Steven is a lot of things. Williams explained to music journalist John Burlingame when asked about retiring via the Hollywood Reporter. He's a director who's a producer. He's a studio head. He's a writer. He's a philanthropist. He's an educator. One thing he isn't is a man you can say no to. Yeah, you can. He's not the Godfather. You didn't add that in your little thing there. Anyway, this caused a huge reaction from the audience before Williams explained that he knew Spielberg's late father, Arnold, who worked at Spielberg's Sohoah, S-H-O-A-H, Sohoah Foundation. Thanks for the help, guys.
You got
I got nothing. Sorry.
Until he was 100. Wow. So I've got 10 more years to go. No, you got 9. I'll stick around for a while. He added, also, you can't retire from music. It's like breathing. It's your life. It's my life. A day without music is a mistake. Hey, I think Kiss can say that. Or Ozzy Osbourne can say that. Well, just about everybody in the music industry, practically. Spielberg seemed surprised by Williams' announcement and added, I'd better get to work to find out what the hell I'm doing next. So, yeah. Well, so he's not retiring, folks.
Well, yeah, well, he's been...
Well, not necessarily.
Yeah, he's been kind of hinting at that for a long time, but, I mean, he came back for The Force Awakens just because he goes, wait a minute, there's a character, and somebody's going to make a new theme for Rey? Oh, I better get on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't let somebody else do it.
Well, I don't think he's going to be doing that. Yeah, that's true, Eric. Once a musician, always one. Yep. I can attest to that one. So in 2012, Marvel Comics switched to the self-cover paper format for their comic books. Traditionally, the paper quality of the cover of a comic was a higher, glossier nature than the newsprint in size, but then suddenly it wasn't. Marvel Comics countered this by increasing the thickness of their regular print paper. But not by much, and not for long. 13 and a half years later, it appears that DC Comics has joined them with a series of self-covers or thinner glossy paper across their regular monthly comic books. It cannot be ignored that paper printing and shipping costs have risen significantly and haven't shown signs of falling. Thinner, lighter paper costs less to buy and less to ship. However, it doesn't feel as good in the hand. It doesn't have the heft. And people notice. However, it appears that a number of DC Comics titles, including Batman number 141, are including the regular cover underneath the variant covers, and they are using the extra cover to sell more covers.
That's a lot of use of the word covers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just dumb. What a way to... anyway, they're using extra covers to sell extra covers.
Yeah, that's redundancy.
Okay.
Yeah,
but they're still using the flimsy paper.
Yeah, I know. Eye roll moment. What? I mean, makes you just throw your hands up and go, what?
You better not even open it, because like as soon as you do, it's all crinkled. I mean, there goes your 9 rating even. Like,
oh yeah, no more 9.8 for you.
No more 8s.
Yeah. So that is the DC Comics way. Batman number 141 and Superman 78 number 3 are out now at your local comic book shop if you want to check out this double cover nonsense. So earlier this week, Bleeding Cool took a look at when DC Comics realized that Warner Brothers owned lots of intellectual property and they could turn into comic books, even though they didn't do a lot of it. But we got Mad Max, Hanna-Barbera, Lost Boys, and Django Unchained comic books out of it. Just no Dirty Harry, Goonies, or Mortal Kombat. But they did discover that as part of the journey, DC Comics decided that they owned Marvel's Machine Man character, all because he began as X-51, a character in the Jack Kirby adaptation and continuation of the Stanley Kubrick movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, published by Marvel in the 70s. So if it was published by Marvel, okay. Did you catch all that?
Yep.
All right. We'll continue this later, and I'll just restart it. But we're going to take our first break of the year, and we'll be back with more Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show. And Quizmaster Scott will be joining us right after this break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. And joining us right now, it is time for Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott and Quizmaster Scott. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very good. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. All right, so if you want to participate in the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott, first off, anyone can participate. There's no age limit. Quizmaster Scott will ask you a multiple choice question and provide you a list of possible answers. All you have to do is call in 775-515-4141. I guess you lost your sheet of paper there, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're good.
You got one, but where's his?
I don't know. Rob handed me this one.
Uh-huh. I had it right here. I don't know. It's okay. It's good.
All right.
Good.
It's all good. Sorry about that, Scott.
That's all right.
So call in 775-515-4141 with the correct answer, and you win. Guess the wrong answer, and we hang up on you, but quickly call back in and guess again before someone else beats you to it. Every wrong answer will be taken off the board. So out of the 5, it could be reduced to 1. And then whoever calls in and gets that one wins. So you have until someone either wins or guesses the right answer or the show ends. You can't win unless you call, and you can't call unless you are listening, because then you won't know what the question is. So can you win tonight? Tonight, you can win a gift certificate courtesy of Dreamwell Comics in Carson City, a pair of movie passes courtesy of Galaxy Theaters in Carson City. And even if these are something you don't want, gift certificates or movie passes make a great gift for your pop culture compadres in your lives. Just something to keep in mind. And Scott, what is the question this week to start off the year?
The question is, who was the very first boxer Rocky Balboa beats in the film series Rocky? Is it A, Glass Joe, B, Clubber Lang, C, Dragon Chan, D, Apollo Creed, or E, Spider Rico?
Okay, so who was the first boxer Rocky Balboa beats in the film series Rocky? And the multiple choice answers are A, Glass Joe, B, Clubber Lang. I think I know that one character. He was in a Rocky movie, right? Clubber Lang? Wasn't that Mr. T or something?
Well, you probably shouldn't start handing out hints yet, Jim.
I'm not handing out hints. I'm just trying to get C, Dragon Chan, I've never heard of. D, Apollo Creed is the only other person that I've actually heard of on this list, because I have honestly never watched a Rocky movie.
Are you not American, sir?
I am, but no, I've never watched a Rocky movie.
It's been a while, so I don't remember.
Okay. And so Spider Rico sounds like a comic book character. But those are your choices. A, Glass Joe, B, Clubber Lang, D, C, Dragon Chan, D, Apollo Creed, or E, Spider Rico. If you have your answer, feel free to call in, and you can win a prize, 775-515-4141. Let me check here. And you got it right to start off the year. You got it wrong to start off the year. So Spencer is 1-0 for. I'm going to write this down so we can keep track of this. 1 for Spencer and 0 for Rob. Not that you guys are going to win a prize or anything, but it's just
bragging rights,
I guess.
Well, even if I'm not bragging, but
Well, yeah, you are.
Well, for 1-0, no, not yet.
All right. So, any updates on when and where you will be doing your Sporkle Pub Quiz in the coming year, sir?
Not yet. Hopefully, venue will open up. So I just gotta wait to see who wants to host the show, and we'll get going. But whenever that will happen, it will happen.
All right. Until then, hopefully you'll be continuing to come on the show.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Oh, well, thank you very much, and you have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, Eric's going to respond now. I can tell. He's got the little dots a
The
waving.
little dots a waving, yeah.
The little dots a waving. All right. So, oops, I shouldn't have closed that out. Oh, well. I'll pull it back up later. That would be wrong, Eric. But thank you for participating. So where we left off was DC Comics realized that Warner Brothers owned lots of intellectual property, and they could turn it into comic books. Even though they didn't do a lot, but we got Mad Max, Hanna-Barbera, Lost Boys, and Django Unchained comic books out of it. No Dirty Harry, Goonies, or Mortal Kombat, but they did discover that as part of the journey, DC Comics decided that they owned Marvel's Machine Man character, all because he began as X-51, a character in the Jack Kirby adaptation and continuation of the Stanley Kubrick movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, published by Marvel in the 70s. And because Warner Brothers owns that movie, they also own the comic book and the continuing series. Bleeding Cool also understand that DC Comics has now informed Marvel that they believe that they own Machine Man, and future publication may entail some elaborate maneuvers in the copyright indicator on Marvel's part in order to comply with various copyright and trademark requirements.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
What a headache.
Oh, yeah. And also, DC Comics might just reprint the 2001 adaptation by Jack Kirby as they feel so minded. Jack Kirby wrote and penciled both the adaptation of 2001: A Space Odyssey and the 10-issue series which followed in 1976, and the project was part of the agreement of Kirby's return to Marvel after working for DC Comics in the Fourth World titles. Mm-hmm. Kirby incorporated additional dialogue to the adaptation from the Arthur C. Clarke novel and an earlier draft of the screenplay. In issue number 8, Kirby introduces Mr. Machine, the robot X-51, who gains sentience and, thanks to an encounter with a monolith, takes the name Aaron Stack and tries to hide amongst humanity. When 2001: A Space Odyssey would soon come to an end, but the character was given his own series shortly after, reportedly renamed Machine Man due to a naming conflict with an Ideal Toys robot named Mr. Machine. Subsequently, and the character would then appear in the likes of Thor, Iron Man, Machine Man 2020, Next Wave, Agents of Hate H.A.T.E, Next Wave, and the Iron Man 2020 event. But hey, with Warner's and DC saying that what they say, how about making him a new member of the Justice League? No. I think legally that they would have a claim to the likeness of X-51.
Yeah, especially if you go into the technicalities like Disney likes to do with the.
I mean, technically he was called Mr. Machine
stuff,
and the robot X-51, but when he went into his own series with Marvel, that's when he got changed his name to Machine Man. So they'd have they'd
have to copyright both names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Machine Man technically is not.
Yeah, so they might have a claim to, like you said, like the X-51 and the Aaron Strode and stuff or whatever. But yeah, it sounds like it's tenuous grasp at best for Machine Man.
I think
itself.
DC should have other things to do besides coming up with looking for ways to, pigeonhole Marvel with characters.
Well, yeah,
especially when you have to jump through so many circus hoops to get to it. I mean,
well, yeah, but Marvel has done the same thing too with who is now currently known as Shazam when he was known as Captain Marvel at DC.
But still, it's like Spiral would have a problem trying to do the
dance around
play
all
the
this
Twister
stuff.
Game that they're playing. I mean, come on, just have somebody write better stories for you, and you don't have to worry about garbage like this.
Indeed.
Especially when you have to dig back so far. I mean, 2020. I mean, who remembers Machine Man for Pete's sake? Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I have to admit I am not among them.
But speaking of DC Comics, DC Comics has been doing without a Justice League for a couple of years now. Their deaths, actually, it's only been like a year, hasn't it?
Oh, they've all gotten better by now.
Their deaths in Justice League number 75 set up Dark Crisis and the Rise of Titans. And even though the deaths were swiftly reversed, shocking, the League was not reformed. DC teased that they would be bringing back a new Justice League at the end of last year, but it didn't happen. Indeed, in the comics, Amanda Waller has been using the lack of a Justice League to persuade President Joe Biden to give her more and more anti-superhero powers. How's Biden granting Waller anti-superhero powers?
Fictional universes are a beautiful thing. It's the same way that, you know, the U.S. government creates in the Marvel Universe the Sentinels to go up against mutants. You know, it's like there's no way it could happen in reality.
They're coming out with something like The Boys, where they have that, you know, anti
serum.
Yeah,
the V serum.
I don't know what it's called. Yeah,
but they're making it sound like Joe Biden is like the Beyonder and can grant people powers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
That's what I'm.
I think
Miss Wallace, shall have
anti-superhero powers. What does that even mean? Anti-superhero powers.
I think more accurately they're trying to go for authority rather than power.
On her, she gets to go, aha!
So that she can do some very bad things.
She could just get beat really bad. She just can't get hit with like a laser beam eye.
There you go. There are also plans for the Justice Society of America to be reformed, as well as a new Legion of Superheroes series spinning out from the JSA 12-issue series. But they decided to go exclusive with Ghost Machine at Image instead, the creator of that. And changed those plans at DC. But what has been stirring around recently in recent months from DC sources is that rather than the inevitable return of the Justice League in some form or other, possibly opposed to Amanda Waller, but we may be getting a similar scrappier team with a similar scrappier name, but not the usual members, specifically named the Justice Gang.
Oh, yes, that's so creative.
That's terrible. Like, that is the worst
The Justice Gang.
The Justice Gang. A name that echoes the Injustice Gang supervillain teams first formed by Libra, including Kronos, Mirror Master, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Shadow Thief, and the Tattooed Man, while Lex Luthor had his own version using Circe, Dr. Light, Gem, the Joker, Mirror Master again, and Ocean Master as counterparts to the League, except the likes of Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Metamorpho, Ultraman, and Hawkgirl, somewhere between the Justice League Detroit era of the 70s and the Justice League International team of the 80s and 90s, a more street-level team rather than one concerned with cosmic threats. Obviously, it will eventually lead to a fully formed Justice League with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the like again. And we also have the non-canon Justice League versus Godzilla versus King Kong and the like. But as it stands, DC Comics may be playing around with the idea in different ways first.
Wow.
With Justice
wow.
Gang.
Okay, it's making Rob. We have to move on. It's making Rob giggle.
It just reminds me of like the Apple Dumpling Gang. Like, you know, like
Yeah,
it's like they're like little children.
Wow, the Apple.
the Apple. I have not heard about the Apple Dumpling Gang in years.
Wow.
But yeah, he's right. It did make me think of it too. I was just trying to
Just
restrain
terrible,
myself.
Absolutely terrible.
It is. It's horrible.
Who's their naming person? Like, fire them right now.
I don't know. But that was horrible. Anyway, from the comic books being released January 10th, at least here I highlight the number one issues and or major story or anniversary issues that are being released because those are the ones that have the most value interest to collectors and investors. Don't base your buying decisions solely on my opinion. It is, after all, only my opinion. To keep the list to a minimum, I do not include in it trade paperback graphic novels, hardcover, softcover volumes, or reprints. If you are an independent comic book company or creator and you have something coming out, please let me know by sending me an email at popculturekaboom@gmail.com. Boy, you guys threw out those real old-timey jokes there with the apple dumpling gang, I tell you.
Yeah, that we're
Hark the
retro.
joy
up on
time.
those.
In between Little Orphan Annie.
But when you say, I'm sorry, when you say the Justice Gang, that's what it reminds me of. That or straight out of like, what is it? The Ponderosa Ranch, you know?
Wow, okay. The Wild Wild West. Okay. Anyway, if you are an independent comic book company or creator and have something coming out, please let me know by sending me an email at popculturekaboom@gmail.com. Put upcoming comics in the subject line and include in the body of the email the publisher's name, the title of the book or books, when the book or books will be coming out, and the issue number so I can add the book or books in the future. First up from Ahoy Comics, Acid Chimp versus Business Dog, number 1.
Okay,
One shot.
I love the title, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Acid Chimp?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Versus Business Dog.
Was it created from acid, or does he throw acid? See, now I'm curious.
Well,
and then if he's a chimp, would it be Acid Dookie or?
ew. And I don't know what kind of business Dog is doing, but I think it's on par with the chimp. But anyway.
He's the lawyer for the chimp.
Oh,
That's his
yeah.
business.
Well, they're fighting each other. Okay.
Anyway,
I know. No, Bonanza, if that does not age us, it ages us a lot, actually. Actually,
what are you talking about? I'm as young as the year is old.
it's still a big thing around here, actually, because it's Carson City, Eric. So, you know, where the who were they? Who lived at the Ponderosa Ranch?
Who lived at the Ponderosa
Yeah.
Ranch? Oh my God! It was the whole like that stupid. that stupid
Lauren
family.
Green.
Yeah, I know the
Lauren Green.
actors.
Well,
but
yeah,
what's
no,
the name of their family?
I'm going through.
I
I'm
cannot
trying to
even
remember.
think of it right now. That's why I said the Ponderosa Ranch. My dad watches it like all the time. Though.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's eluding me at the moment.
All right, yeah, all right.
Bonanza. That's all I can think of is the name of the show. That's not their like last name.
Actually, the Ponderosa Ranch is up in Tahoe.
Yeah.
It used to be a place you could actually go
Yep.
to,
Yeah.
but then they closed it. So you can use to take a hayride. I used to make fun of that.
We used to go up all the time when my aunts would come out.
The breakfast hayride. You're throwing scrambled
The
eggs
pancakes and stuff, yeah.
at wild Indians as they attack you. One shot, 2 cover variants for Acid Chimp versus Business Dog, and we'll have to continue that list when we get back. So don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Boom Radio Show right after this. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Kaboom radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. Eric decided to chime in that he thinks a modern Gilligan's Island would be cool, starting at like Lost, a plane crash on a jungle island.
Well, then where would be the SS Minnow if it was a plane crash?
That's what it would be called. I don't know. I don't see.
They would find it on the island.
Yeah, but yeah, I hate it when they do dramatic remakes of comedy shows like they did with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it's like, why?
They did?
Yeah, it's called Bel-Air.
Dumb.
Yes.
All right. It did, but he wants it to stay a comedy. Unless they crash land on the Komodo Islands and they have to run from Komodo dragons, I don't see a reason. A Bermuda Triangle thing where they end up on like some other dimension is the only way that would play out in any
Kind of like
form.
Lost.
Is that what happened?
Kind of.
I never watched Lost.
Yeah, it's
It turned out to be they were all dead.
it was a convoluted mess.
Yes, they were all dead, and apparently they were all sharing the same death dream or death.
Apparently,
Whatever.
J.J. Abrams,
Yeah.
shock of shocks, didn't know what he was doing. He was just kind of making it up as he went along.
Which is why everybody hated the ending of Lost. Because wait, after all that, you mean after we all said, "Oh, are they dead?" You said, "No, they aren't. They are." Yeah. Like,
Well, I had to end it. I mean, all right. So we didn't get very far with the comic books. So
No.
let's start over with Ahoy Comics, Acid Chimp versus Business Dog, number one shot with 2 cover variants.
Okay, I can understand that, wanting to have an excuse just to say Acid Dog versus Business, or Acid Chimp versus Business Dog again.
No, because I really want to get to the next one, which is Antarctic Press and Notzilla, number
Not
one
Zilla.
one shot with 3 cover villains.
Wait, is it with a KN or just an N?
N-O-T.
Okay.
Not Zilla. Blood Moon Comics has Distemper number 1. They should need that for Business Dog, I guess. Distemper number 1 of 3 with 3 cover variants. Brilliant Enterprise has Kent Menace versus Techno Freak number 1 with 2 cover variants. Are these names not comical this week? I can't.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
it's interesting.
DC Comics has Batman Beyond number 1 facsimile edition with 3 cover variants when there weren't no cover variants
Right.
in the
Well, I don't
original.
know. With Batman Beyond, there could have been. I mean, that's a relatively new title. It's
Then why are they doing a facsimile?
exactly that's what. What's kind of
Makes
like
no
going-
sense. All right, Dynamite Entertainment. Oh, but guess what? They're not the ones with the highest cover count this week.
Oh,
Color me shocked.
Yeah, you should be. But anyway, let's play the game.
all right.
Dynamite Entertainment, Disney Villains Cruella de Vil number 1 with Spencer.
I want to say 101, but that's way
Whoa.
too many because you have just 100.
That would be a
Dalmatians.
funny, yeah. Wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, but I'll go 7.
Wow, okay. Rob?
I'm going conservative this week.
I'm going to go with 17.
Wow, Rob was the closest. 14 cover variants.
Wow!
And they weren't the highest one this week.
Holy cow!
Image Comics has Adventure Man Ghost Lights number 1 with 2 cover variants. TV kind of serious. What? Eric said 19. Nope, you were off. Marvel Comics has Giant Size Spider-Man number 1 with 4 cover variants. Rise of the Powers of X number 1 with a wallet-busting 9 cover variants. And Ultimate Spider-Man number 1 with a bank-busting 15 cover variants.
15. Wow.
Yep. Massive. Now, that's the name of the company. Zorro Man of the Dead, number 1 of 4, with a wallet-busting 13 cover variants.
Dang.
Or bank-busting, actually. Scout Comics has Von Bach, number 1, with 3 cover variants. Titan Comics has Rebel Moon, House of the Blood Axe, number 1 of 4, with a wallet-busting 8 cover variants.
Well, that might actually make the characters more interesting.
If they have the same characters. I mean,
Yeah, who knows?
House of the Blood Axe. I don't even know what that
I
was
don't
supposed to
remember
mean.
any of that in the.
Me
like
neither.
that, I was like, is this a spin-off? Is this a one-shot? Is this a.
No idea. But Rebel Moon, House of the Blood Axe, the only houses that I'm aware of in science fiction is, of course,
Like House Atreides and House
Arrakis.
Yeah,
Dune.
Harkonnen, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know what they're trying to,
Or Hufflepuff and
see how many
Ravenclaw.
see how many sci-fi
Proud
franchises they
Ravenclaw.
can rip off with one movie. I guess I don't know. Xenoscope Entertainment has Gretel Dark Impulses number 1 one shot, Brown Chicken Brown Cow, with 4 cover variants, and those are your comic books coming out this week.
Could be like when they did Red, when she was like, it was Little Red Riding Hood, but she was actually a werewolf hunter.
That's funny stuff. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, Grim Fairy Tales kind of has a line that's like that with the different characters.
Okay. So Valve Corporation finally wrapped up the year with the 2023 Steam Awards as they released the full set of winners on Tuesday. Every year, the company likes to show off who you and they believe are the top video games of the year. So they do their own award ceremony where you vote on the games you believe deserve to be recognized in certain fields. The catch, however, is that you can't vote for games you don't own. In other words, no one can spam the vote beyond getting a group of people together who also happen to own the game to vote for their favorites. I know, what a concept. The idea behind it is that you're getting a much more genuine voting pool made up of people who actually played the game. But it also has the drawback of less popular games just never having the votes to make it past titles that clearly have a bigger audience and more downloads.
But not necessarily a higher quality.
Yeah. So titles that sell well will always have an advantage in more ways than one. I mean, if you sell a lot of games, then it goes on the thing, as their top 10 for the week anyway. So if you have a game that nobody knows about, it's not going to sell. And
Yeah, you're not going to get a chance to get that kind of exposure if you are a little dark horse company that gets an award, from a thing. You can say, "Hey, we're an award winner. Come check our game out."
Unless novelty. Get a hold of somebody in the media. I'm just
promote
saying.
your game.
You want to.
There's like this weird thing that everybody expects, like influencers or the Twitch people, or
to just happenstance come across and stumble over you like a coffee table in the middle of a dark room. It doesn't happen
Trust
that
me,
often.
as a gamer myself, even like when they show up on my free games, I research and go, "What is this game? Do I even feel like I'm interested in playing?"
Yeah, it's like even
so promote your game so that we can be like, "Ooh, this sounds good,"
Spencer, is that like Bell, Monster Hunter, or Ariel, Guardian of the Sea?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then they have like Van Helsing has a daughter, stuff like that.
Yeah, wasn't her name Mina? And she died?
No.
Didn't Van Helsing have a daughter?
No, they were separate people. Mina was getting married to Jonathan Harker.
Mina Harker.
Yeah.
And Jonathan,
Oh, okay. It's about
but
she did.
Dracula's the
I
one.
don't know. She became undead, so I don't know. Like she technically
wasn't she
died.
like Van Helsing? Didn't Van Helsing have a daughter that was a friend of hers or something?
I don't know if you're.
No, he was a friend. He was a friend of the father of the daughter that was killed by Dracula.
Yes.
Oh boy, is that convoluted? All right.
It makes sense in the
I'm
context.
sorry,
of
I
the
brought
book.
it up now.
When you have a book, you have lots of characters.
Well, yeah, and then so many different versions of it that there probably was a movie version where they were.
There is on Sci-Fi. There was the I think it was just called Van Helsing.
Yeah, and I believe the comic book is based off her.
Well, she was a female.
Yeah, but I think it was.
But she's from that line.
Yeah, it was the Van Helsing line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that show was based off of the comic. In fact,
it was.
Yeah,
it was like one of the first successful comic book TV shows. Because I watched it, along with what was that one with the Mercy with the dead? I can't remember it now. It was on Sci-Fi too. It's really cheesy.
Fossils?
No, really cheesy. Kind of like Walking Dead.
I want to say it was called Citizen Z, but that's wrong. I know exactly what the one you're talking about.
there was Z Nation, but
Z Nation. Yeah,
Z Nation. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it was in that weird. It was filmed in that weird blue tone.
And it was just bizarre.
Oh, I loved it. Though. It was great. It was so
humorous.
It was so campy, and it knew it was campy.
It had that, and they were like totally. Remember when it first came out, and they're playing up, "Oh, this person's in it," and he dies like the first episode. It's like, oh yeah, that was a seller.
They do it a lot. My wife was mad about that too because they did it with a TV show on primetime with Ryan Philippe. And my wife's like, he died in the first episode. She's like, why do you promoting him? She was so mad.
Oh, they did that with Bruce Campbell too. They kind of put him into limelight for one of those. What was it for Maniac Cop 2?
Oh yeah,
they're like starring Bruce Campbell. He was in it for like 5 minutes before he died. He was like the intro.
Yeah,
the credits weren't even done rolling before he died. Anyway. All right. So where was I? Played the game, but it also has a drawback of less popular games. Blah 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 blah. Clearly have a bigger audience. Blah blah. So titles that sell well will always have an advantage, which is how this year kind of turned out, and in many ways, and shows how skewered the voting can be. As Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us Part 1, two games that did not come out in 2023, snagged awards, well, then they should limit it
to new games then, yeah.
It has to come out that year.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You're the ones who were setting, like, you can't say all of them and then get disappointed with the results.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on, you're setting the parameters here. I didn't really set
like
them.
You are literally writing the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here are the 2023 Steam Award winners. Game of the Year went to Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
VR Game of the Year went to Labyrinthine. Okay. Labor of Love went to Red Dead Redemption 2. Best Game on Steam Deck, Hogwarts Legacy. Better with Friends went to Lethal Company. Outstanding Visual Style went to Atomic Heart. Have you seen anything about Atomic Heart?
Oh, yeah.
I've only seen the cutscenes for that, and I don't know if it's actually worth a game worth playing.
I'm pretty sure everybody's just voting because of the robot ballerina twins.
Yeah, that's all they ever showed, too. So I have no idea what this game is actually about. Most innovative games play went to Starfield. Best game you suck at, Sifu.
Sifu. It's a martial arts game.
Okay. Best soundtrack went to The Last of Us Part 1. Outstanding story-rich game went to Baldur's Gate 3. Sit Back and Relax went to Dave the Diver. All games I have not played. Anyway, the New York Video Game Critics Circle has officially released all of the nominees for the upcoming 2024 New York Game Awards, which will be held in a few weeks. The 13th annual ceremony will be live streamed at the Play Center for Media, as the winners will be revealed during the live and in-person show, which is set to be held at the SVA Theater in Manhattan on January 23rd. If you want, though, you can go to New York Game Awards 2024 if you want to check out all of the nominees. I'm not going to read them out because there's way too many. There really is. There's like 5 to 10 per category.
Yeah.
20 categories.
I don't think any of us are judging you harshly on that one.
Good.
Jimmy.
Goody. All right.
But we're still judging you.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, so Robert says Cartwright.
We looked it up during the.
You looked it up.
I looked it up because it was driving me nuts because it's like it was in this avalanche of information in my brain, but I just couldn't dig it up in time. So I did look it up. Yeah.
I wasn't concerned about it at all.
Right.
Actually, once that segment, once the commercials came, or once the break
We all
came,
knew what we were talking
I was
about.
done. So, with that being said, Riot Games have officially launched Season 2024 for League of Legends with a ton of content to start off with right out of the gate. Aside from the major reveal being the preview of Arcane Season 2, this season will build around Arcane-inspired gameplay and characters and to build up to the season debut in November, which will dovetail into Worlds 2024. The game will see changes to the champion mastery system, as well as the return of arena mode, a brand new game mode to be revealed. Okay. And a new set of circumstances to deal with for LOL's esports. Laugh out loud esports. Which includes changes to the qualification rules for the mid-season invitational and Worlds 2024, plus their own Hall of Fame with the introduction of the LOL Esports Hall of Legends. The team will focus on making improvements to how the ranked system evaluates player skill, reducing situations where a player is matched up with someone in a vastly different rank, and how much LP a player loses, LP in relation to how much they gain in the new season. Okay, now I'm confused. Additionally, there will be changes coming to the Championship Mastery System in the first half of the year. Vanguard is coming to League as a response to the feedback around high number of bots in games, disruptive smurfs in ranked, and an increase in scripting. The implementation will allow for live match termination and will refund LP to players in games with/against detected cheaters and bots. LOL Esports will continue to increase the stakes around MSI and strengthen its connection to Worlds to that effect. In 2024, the winning team at MSI will be awarded a guaranteed spot at Worlds, which also counts as an additional slot for their region. The second best performing region will secure an additional seed for their region as well. This season there will be a base of 3 World slots for the LEC, LCS, LCK, and LPL, the PCS, and VSC. I'm talking in code now.
I honestly thought you were going to say PCP at one point.
So I thought I was going to too. I thought I was going to slip up there, but I didn't. Whew. Wow, that was close. But we're coming up on that hard break, and we got a lot more show for you. So don't go anywhere. We still got to talk to, hopefully no more acronyms. We still have to talk to Samuel over at the Galaxy Theaters, as well as Tony Sanfilippo with the movies, as well as our big interview with Mr. Bill Brown later on in the show as well, and more news for you. If you missed any part of tonight's show, you can catch it again. How you say? Like this, I say. By going to the Pop Culture Kaboom podcast Produced by 97 and Now Productions, it is available on your favorite podcast platform. So just subscribe to Pop Culture Kaboom Podcast. And we'll be back with more Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show right after this. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. And again, the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott. Question of the week. Who is the very first boxer Rocky Balboa beats in the film series of Rocky? Is it A, Glass Joe, B, Clubber Lang, C, Dragon Chan, D, Apollo Creed, or E, Spider Rico? Phone number to call, 775-515-4141. If you'd like to win a prize, if you get it right, that is, then feel free, give us a call. Right now, we are speaking with Samuel over at the Galaxy Theaters in Carson City. And how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. Happy New Year, by the way. And speaking of New Year, what is going on over there at Galaxy Theaters? What is playing currently this week?
Yeah, Happy New Year. We have, this week we have The Color Purple, we have Wonka, and we also have Migration. They've all been big hits here. And then this Friday, the 12th, we're going to be playing Beekeeper and Mean Girls.
Mean Girls? Wasn't that a movie already?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was.
Is this a sequel or a
new one?
Remake?
This is going to be a remake.
Yeah, it's
first remake of the year that I'm aware of. Okay. I was wondering about that. I saw a thing on YouTube about Mean Girls. I'm like, why are they showing stuff for a movie that's already come out? so I didn't click on it because I'm like, I don't care about that. I didn't care about it the first time around.
But yeah,
all right.
We made it a week.
Wow. All right.
Before they put a remake out.
Woo-hoo.
Nice.
Well, there's your answer for that one. Who was that? Whoever asked for that list.
The gentleman in Texas?
Yes.
Well, I think it was Texas. Yeah. You want to know there's a list of remakes coming out this year. And
there's your first.
And so now you know there's at least one. All right. So The Beekeeper and Mean Girls coming out on Friday. Is there anything leaving the theater this week?
We haven't had confirmation by the studios just yet. Unfortunately, we're not going to know until Monday. So tomorrow.
Okay. Well, so if you get a chance, now would be the opportunity for you to go and check out The Color Purple as well as Wonka, if you haven't seen that one yet. Actually, Crystal, a listener to the show.
Yeah, she gave that a pretty glowing review.
She said she went and saw it, and she enjoyed it, surprisingly.
Yeah, she wasn't expecting to, and she was getting ready to walk out when it first started, she said.
That was kind of like me with Superman versus Batman. Remember that one? Yeah. I almost walked out on that one. But anyway, so yeah, she gave it actually a good review. So unfortunately, or do you know yet if, I don't even think there's any info yet. I know they're going to be releasing a Godzilla -1 in Japan as a black and white version. Any news on whether or not that'll be coming to the States?
I don't have any news on that just yet. But if we end up showing it at the theater, I'll for sure let you know.
Awesome.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah, because a lot of people actually, like Rob wants to see it in black and white, so which surprises me. But
it's kind of a nice homage to the original Godzilla.
Movies, so to me, it's like...
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Anything else going on at the theaters that people should know about?
I'm actually very happy you asked. We're currently hiring, and then along with that, if you're interested in any screen rentals, now is the time. We're entering into the third season with school being in session, so if anybody is interested, please just shoot us a call at 775-885-9500.
Okay. And screen rentals can be used for office gatherings, any special screenings. And what if independent filmmakers, can they...
Yeah. XYZ, all of the above. And, if you have a creative idea, we'd love to hear you out and how you could use our space.
Awesome. All right. Well, then, sir, I do appreciate you coming on and talking with us about what's going on over there at Galaxy Theaters in Carson City. And you guys are open tonight until, 11 o'clock?
Actually, we're closed a little bit earlier, around 9:45.
Oh, okay. Last showing then? Okay. All right. So that'll be that. So you still have time after the show tonight if you're driving around. And we do got a caller.
We have a
so
caller.
we're going to let you go, sir. And we're going to see
All
who
right.
is
Thank you
calling
so
us.
much.
And
right,
we'll
thank
talk to you
you.
later. All right. See ya. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Who is this and where are you calling from?
This is Jim from Carson City.
Hey,
Hello,
Jim from
Jim.
Carson City.
Carson City.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys. Hey,
Yes.
so last time I called, and I know it was a few weeks back,
talking
it
about
was
Godzilla.
recommended that I see arsenic and old lace.
Yeah. You
Well,
saw it? And
the
what'd you
sad
think?
news is I can't find it anywhere. No streaming services. They don't have it in the classic movies at the library here. So if you got any other suggestions for me, something I can actually find, that would be cool.
Well, see, Harvey is always a good choice as well with Jimmy Stewart.
Okay, so instead of helping you find it, he'll just give you a different movie altogether.
No, that's fine. That's a different movie. What was that one called?
Harvey.
Harvey. Okay, another one I never heard of. Okay.
Oh, it's a weird one. Basically he plays a town drunk, but he's also like one of the nicest people you ever meet. Who has a 6-foot giant invisible rabbit named Harvey who hangs out with him.
Okay, this sounds perfect.
The last one I know about is with it has what's his name, Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, I'm in the middle of looking that up for you. The Arsenic and Old Lace,
So,
1969 or
You
1941.
can rent it through Google, the Arsenic and Old Lace.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I try to avoid Google. I think they're evil. But I'll try to
Evil.
that one.
And also, you can also rent it through Voodoo.
Voodoo.
VUDU.
Yeah, so
Okay,
you
is that
can-
an app that you
Yeah.
get
Yep.
on a Roku or something?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And they have
I
a
don't
bunch of
that
free
on.
movies too. So
Yeah, so you can go to do that voodoo that
Okay.
you do so well.
So well, yes.
All right. So while we got you on the phone, you want to take a crack at the trivia question this week?
Are you kidding me? Spider Rico. It was Spider Rico.
Okay.
It was too easy.
I guess so. Well, you know
well,
what?
Man, he knocks him through the ropes after the illegal headbutt. Come on, I know every line in that movie.
Well, I got it right. Eric and Rob did not. So you're in an elite group now.
Wow. Okay.
And as Mickey says, ha, he's a bum.
He's a bum.
All right.
He's a bum.
I never saw Rocky, so I did not know this would be an easy question. So, anyway, but I did see Harvey, so I know about that movie.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
both of those are good choices.
So you get your choice, sir. What would you prefer, a gift certificate for Dreamwell Comics or 2 movie passes to Galaxy Theaters?
Oh, 2 movie passes. Sounds wonderful.
All right. I'm going to put you on hold for a second.
I'm
And
gonna get
Rob
your-
is going to get to
some
your
personal info from you.
so that I can pass it on to Galaxy Theaters. All right, sir.
Very cool. Nice talking to you guys.
all right, hold on for me, okay, sir?
Old film
You
can
got
be
it.
found
All right,
at.
thank you.
Oh, wait. Before you do that, Jim,
Yes.
check out archive.org.
Okay.
It is the Internet Archive, digital library of free and borrowable books and movies, I assume. Old film can be found at archive.org.
Archive.org.
Thank you very much,
Beautiful.
Eric in Whittier, California, for that suggestion.
Super cool.
All right, and we're going to put you on hold for a second, and Rob is going to get your info. And thank you for calling in. All right, so that was kind of quick. All right, I left off with the 97 abbreviations here, talking about the...
all the League of Legends stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so world slots for the LEC, LSC, LCK, and LPL. The PCS and VCS will each retain 2 world slots, and the LLA and CBLOL will each retain 1 world slot. And as previously announced, MSI 2024 will be held May 1st through the 19th, 2024 in Chengdu, China.
Sounds right. It's Chengdu.
That, I think, is all we need. Worlds 2024 will be held September 25th to November 2nd, 2024, and take place in Berlin for play-ins and Swiss stages at the Riot Games Arena, Paris for quarterfinals and semifinals, at the Adidas Arena, and London at the O2 Arena for finals. Finally, to celebrate those who have made a lasting impact on the game, the sport, and the community, LOL Esports is proud to introduce the LOL Esports Hall of Legends version of a Hall of Fame. An independent voting panel of esports industry veterans and experts from every region will vote to select the very first inductee. Those inducted will be celebrated both in and out of game. Okay.
Good for them.
Yay.
Woo.
I'm all confused after reading all those abbreviations. Quite honestly, I'm confused now.
Right?
So, remember that game Star Wars Outlaws?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Star Wars Outlaws is slated to be released sometime this year.
Yep.
But Ubisoft has kept quiet about the actual release window. However, it seems we can now expect to see the game late this year, according to a post on the official Disney Parks blog. The Star Wars game was featured in a list of 24 ooh-worthy things that Disney experiences in 2024. The video game was not the only Star Wars thing on the list. Disney also mentioned some changes that will be coming to the Star Tours attraction in Hollywood Studios, Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris back in October. A report from Ubisoft about the company's first half of the fiscal year mentioned that a large game would be delayed to the next fiscal year. The unnamed game was planned for the end of this fiscal year, which concludes on March 31st, 2024. However, Ubisoft had outperformed its own internal expectations and was pushing back the mystery game to maximize its value creation. That report immediately led to rumors that Star Wars Outlaws had been pushed back, and this new Disney Parks blog post would seem to confirm that speculation. That's bound to be disappointing for Star Wars fans hoping to play the game, but hopefully the delay will result in a lot of extra polish ahead of launch. Okay.
Yeah, and
everybody always hopes
they actually had to retract, and they actually had to repost onto the Disney Park blog instead just this year. Because Ubisoft was like, no.
But if any games ever need extra polish before they're released, it's Ubisoft games.
Star Wars Outlaws is set to release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The game is set in the time period between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, with players taking on the role of a new character, Kay Vess. Vess and her outlaw allies are planning one of the biggest heists the Outer Rim has ever seen. Ew. I'm adding all that in there. No, that's actually the quote's actual.
Yeah.
I just read it like I was a cowboy. And that seems like a compelling setup for a Star Wars game. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
It actually looks really cool.
I
liked it.
I seen the cutscene stuff about it, but not actual gameplay.
Oh,
so,
there's the gameplay's out there.
Okay.
Go look. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Given that time period, players can expect to see familiar faces from the original trilogy, including Jabba the Hutt. Players will even be able to take jobs from an infamous gangster. Star Wars Outlaws will be the first open-world game based on the franchise. That's debatable.
Yeah, considering there's been that...
Technically, Star Wars Galaxies was a sandbox and not an open world, so
and then the Old Republic, a massive online role-playing game.
Yeah, that was kind of open world. Yeah. I didn't like it because it was too much on rails, especially when it came to space combat.
Yeah, but it's still open worlds that you go to.
Yeah.
Well, but you're driven by storyline in those.
Kind of. You can go off and do your own thing too. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, so I'm just debating this whole first ever nonsense. I mean, quite honestly. But anyway, and Ubisoft is promising that players will be able to visit multiple planets throughout the game. In an interview with Edge magazine last year, creative director Julian, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, stated that these planets will not be procedurally generated and will all be handcrafted. This person's last name, who I can't pronounce, also noted that the planets will be fairly large, saying that each will One will be roughly the size of 2 to 3 zones from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Ooh, so if you played that game, you'll know what he's talking about, which I haven't, so I don't. Star Wars Outlaws is not currently slated to release on Nintendo Switch, but the system will play host to a Star Wars game of its own this year. Star Wars Hunters was expected to release in 2023 on Switch, Android, and iOS, but was also delayed last year.
Well, see, they don't even consider like Jedi Survivor and that to be open world. Because
really?
Because there's too many closed parts of it. So that's why I think, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking like there's finally going to be like, oh, you're not restricted. Like, you know.
Well, and there's a very fine line between open world and sandbox then. Very fine line.
Yeah, but you know, people are just so obsessed with saying they want to be the first on whatever. It's like what was it when the Hunger Games came out? Finally, here's the first movie franchise with a female lead, and it's like Sigourney Weaver and Sarah Connor would like to enter the conversation here.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Speaking of Linda Hamilton, did you hear the news?
No.
She has been signed on to Stranger Things season 5.
Oh yeah, I
interesting.
did hear about that. If they ever get around to filming that,
It started actually this week.
this week.
Yep.
This week.
That's how like they released the news. Like,
Yeah, I like our freshman high schoolers who are about 30 years old now.
no, they're actually still like they're actually fairly young because they started them when they were young.
I know, I'm exaggerating.
I want to say the oldest one is actually Sadie Sink, I believe, and she's like 22.
22 and still in high school? Heck, that's just like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Hey, at
Just
least
kidding.
they're not 90210 where they actually were 30 playing like 15-year-olds.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, Brian Austin Green's in one of our movies we're reviewing this week.
Brian Austin Green, what was
He was in 90210.
he was?
Yes.
Okay.
No, just
I didn't watch it. What is
interesting conversation. It was.
I don't even remember, but he went out with Donna,
Who's
Tori
Donna?
Spelling's character.
Oh. He went out with Donna. Who's Donna? I feel like I'm at a family reunion. I don't know anybody. Who?
Dude, that was such an obsessive show back in the day.
Yeah, it was. All right. It's time for that hard break. When we get back, it'll be movie time with Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. So don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Boom Radio Show right after this. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Boomer Radio Show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. Each week, the film powers that be release dozens of movies, some of which you'll never hear about except here. Each week's upcoming releases are carefully picked over from Rotten Tomatoes, and up to 5 films are selected from genres that I would watch. And those genres are action, adventure, horror, science fiction, anime, or fantasy, and that is pretty much it. With that in mind, we sit through some of the most hideous trailers ever made, and we'll read you the synopsis of each film, then give you our not-so-humble opinions. Bear in mind, we are not professional movie critics. We are just overly opinionated blowhards. But Mr. Tony Sanfilippo, Filippo's Horrible Reviews is. You can catch all of Tony Sanfilippo's reviews of concerts, television shows, and movies at Filippo's Horrible Reviews. And how are you, sir? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Jimmy and fellas. It's great to be back on the air after a few weeks. I'm doing great. I'm doing what I know best, and that is traveling. I am live inside an Airbnb on Ocean Beach, California, which is just a suburb of, it's a little outside of San Diego. So,
Lucky you. I don't know if you catched the show earlier, but I don't think I mentioned it on air, actually. But it was like this morning it was 5 degrees.
Yeah, you mentioned 4 earlier. And
Oh,
that was like a
negative
-4.
I said 5.
Oh, yeah, 5. Okay.
ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crummy thing when I get back to Colorado, that storm that just graced its presence with you guys is coming to Colorado, so I'll be flying into that tomorrow, so that should be pretty awesome.
Joy.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm soaking in at least this chilly 60 here, you know.
Yeah.
Good sea breezy here, so it's cold, but it ain't that cold, so...
Yeah, good for you. All right, so here on the Pop Culture Boomer Radio Show, we utilize the carefully crafted and patented Pop Culture Boom movie rating system, which is as follows. If it is worth seeing in a theater at full price, it is a good, not a great. That is to be determined by you if you choose to see it in a theater. If it seems worth seeing in a theater as a matinee or in your town's cheap theater, it is a so-so. If it seems worth seeing on a streaming service or as a rental or however you choose to watch a film while avoiding social interaction, it is a blah. If it is deemed so awful you should wait for it to be on public television, it is considered a touch brown because FCC regulations say we can't use profanity. So here are the movies coming out January 8th through January 14th. And we're going to end it with the 400-pound gorilla in the room this week. But first, let me see here. Let's start off with The Night They Came Home.
They came home.
All right, starting it off, it's already in a bad spot because inspired by true events, The Night They Came Home chronicles the ruthless exploits of the Rufus Buck Gang, a group of outlaws who clashed with the Indian Territory of Middle America at the tail end of the 19th century. The combined force of local lawmen and Indian police aimed to take down a cold-hearted band of fugitives with vengeance on their minds. Okay, so Danny Trejo is in a movie, and it actually looks like he isn't going to die. Because he's just sitting there telling stories like he's some kind of weird crypt keeper of the Old West or something. Not a bad concept, actually, when you think about it. But, man, this attempt to modernize the Old West by giving it some sort of Robin Hood / today's gangster vibe falls flat on its face. I can't get behind any sort of glorification of criminal behavior, no matter what time period. I'm giving it a touch brown. Tony, what say you?
Machete in a Western. Woohoo! Danny Trejo and David Silver from 90210, that's Brian Austin Green, are in a modern Western with some action and a so-so story. I would not go rush to see this. I guess it looks okay, but you know what? Realistically, it's a new year, same me. I'll never watch it. Touch brown. I just won't. I can't lie to you guys. No, I won't watch it.
Spencer, what say you?
Well, I love Danny Trejo. I mean, and he looks like he could be an interesting character in this. And when I saw Brian Austin Green, I'm like, no, that's not him, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, holy crap, it is. So yeah, and I just thought, hey, and the action looks fun, and you have the good old fashioned cantankerous lawman there, and the saving grace to this for me is the inspired by true events instead of the very important distinction of based on true events. When it's inspired, you can be a little more loosey goosey and feel better about it. So, but I think the action looks fun. I look forward to Rufus Buck getting old fashioned justice in that, and I won't go to see it in a theater. Yeah, but just kind of a cozy, fun night at home. I'll give it maybe a so-so.
A so-so. That's
so-so.
not a cozy night at home. That's at the matinee.
Yeah, I know, but I can see going to a matinee for this.
Rob, what say you?
Yeah. So you have Danny Trejo, which I like. I like the concept that he's kind of like the narrator who bookends the whole thing here. However, the story just seems like, okay, we've seen this a billion times before. It seems like the rote Western. Whoop-de-doo, it's another gang. Woohoo! And they're going to have a shootout. Yay, it's a Western. I'm just so, Westerns are not my genre at all, and they
couldn't tell.
Generally turn me off right away. They have to be there's a few good ones out there. I'm not going to lie, but this one is not one of them for me. So it's going to be a touch brown.
All right, Tony, what is next?
Oh, I did it my way.
Okay, tell me all about it, Frank.
Yeah, here we go. As the secretive, complex world of online drug trafficking increasingly targets Hong Kong. Okay, I'll stop.
Thank you.
The police launch a risky top-secret sting operation to bring down one of the most notorious drug lords in Asia. Okay, Frank Sinatra said it best. I did it my way. This trailer is action and intense. Bang, 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 death. Subtitles, And I was probably more into the views looking out the window of my flight from Denver to San Diego. I should probably pay more attention, but for some reason I'm not into this, so Touch Brown.
Okay.
I watched all these trailers as I was taking off, so this was the last trailer, and the plane started to take off, and I got distracted. So, but it did draw me in.
All right. Bad guys doing bad things. Rinse, wash, repeat. Touch Brown. Rob, what say you?
So the only thing I can say is that I learned that apparently Hong Kong sends drugs to South America. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it'd be the other way around.
So did I.
Yeah.
Other than that, Touch Brown.
Okay. Spencer?
Wow.
It was just like the most boring action trailer I've ever seen.
And apparently nobody's wasting any time on this one.
Well, I'll waste a little time on it.
Very little.
Yeah, it looked like it could be fun, but this would be fun that I could fast forward or rewind. So this one I'll give a blah.
Wow. Okay. Fast forward or rewind?
Well, yeah. Well, with subtitles, sometimes if there's a big explosion big enough, you might need to rewind to reread the subtitles.
All right.
Okay. I thought you were going to watch it and fast forward. You're like, that was the best.
Oh wait, that was.
30
Wait,
seconds
let me watch that again.
Yeah.
And let me rewind it.
No, rewind it.
It probably wouldn't be as boring or slow.
Maybe it'll make more sense in reverse. I don't know.
Yeah, and fast forward to the next explosion. Skip all that boring talky stuff.
Next one is an acronym. TIM, T-I-M, stands for Technologically Integrated Manservant. An engineer begins work on her company's latest product, an AI humanoid called Tim, Technologically Integrated Manservant. Things take a turn for the worse, as they always do, when Tim's surveillance programming leads to a dangerous obsession with her.
I love you. Beep, mom. Manservant. Beep, beep. Short circuit. Eat, oot, eat.
Okay, you know what? You could be the perfect one. What was that movie with the robot in it?
Megan?
No.
Short circuit?
Yes, Short Circuit. That's what.
No, disassemble. Johnny Five alive.
Tony's going to be voicing the remake of that one. All right.
Oh, man.
So in the latest AI technology gone wrong comes this slightly boring, slow build, and it's too slow for my taste. And thanks to a step-by-step movie trailer, I could skip the entire movie since I just watched it. Very spoiled recap. So Touch Brown. Tony, what say you?
Oh, can I get a personal assistant that goes to work and wakes up at 2:45 daily and then go drop all the pallets himself and be bitter when we don't make openings? So that'd be nice if I could get my own Tim.
Wow.
But here we go with the movie. The AI robot falls in love with a woman and does what he can to break him and her boyfriend up because why? Why not? Wedge a little jealousy in there. The trailer shows you everything you need. The robot wants sexy time with the lady. She's not having Bender Rodriguez. He gets jelly and all crazy. And then Short Circuit's worse than Johnny Five. And boom! They have to take out the corrupt machine. Seen it, been there, done that. It's been done better. Touch Brown.
Okay. Spencer?
Well, when I see Tim, we have the technologically blah 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 here. But when I think of Tim, I think of the legendary wizard, Tim.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Monty Python and Search for the Holy Grail.
Oh, okay.
And nobody can beat that Tim. So I'm going to touch Brown this one.
All right, Rob, what say you?
Yeah, I think Disney's version was better of this. Their TV movie of the week.
Wow.
This just looks so terrible. Whoever they have acting as that AI guy is just lose him. Drop him immediately if you were his person. Don't ever put him in anything else. Terrible.
I am a manservant.
Yeah, Touch Brown.
All right, the second brown streak of the year. All right, completely. I'm going flatline this week so far. Tony's going flatline this week so far. Rob's going flatline this week so far. Spencer's the only one who had a pulse at the beginning, and he's gone downhill.
Pretty steadily.
So what is next, Tony?
Oh, it's time to get down with The Great Pretender, because it's been 3 years since Wit Studio captivated the world with the dizzying tricks and ingenious scenarios that emerged from the Great Pretender series. Now this all-new action-adventure film follows Dorothy, the self-proclaimed genius con artist who recruited the infamous Laurent Theory to the life of crime. This time around, she has been defeated at her own game by the Shanghai Longu Bang and is thought to be dead, but she soon reemerges in a small seaside village. Pursued by the underworld of Taipei, she heads to Kyoto, but what will she find waiting for her? ... Question mark, exclamation point. Dun, dun, dun. Music sounded straight out of Mario Kart. It's like the little intro. That's what I kept thinking about. It's a Japanimation film with English dubbing. The animation was nice. I have seen better Japanimation anime, like the style of it, but this was still wonderfully done. The story seems to be about a con man making friends or something along the lines. I mean, I'll never sit through it, but if you're a fan of Japanimation, this might be up your alley. It starts, unfortunately for me, 24 starts in the toilet bowl. Touch brown.
Oh, wow.
It continues to
okay.
stay. Yeah, because I won't watch it.
All right.
I
So,
was really nice to it, though.
so I am not joking when I say that this feels like a combination of Ocean's 11 and Cowboy Bebop. Also, what was up with those subtitles? So at first, it's like part in Japanese, part in English, and then the subtitles absolutely did not follow what they were actually saying, even in English. So it was very confusing for me. And for those very reasons, this feels so predictable that I am forced to give it a touch brown. Yes, exactly. Rob, what say you?
Yeah, this is not a movie for me. I'm not, like... I like Japanimation and stuff and anime, but this just seemed like the same. Like, I could have sworn I saw like the same characters that I've seen over and over again. Especially that one guy with the really round head and the big eyes that took up like his whole face. I could have sworn I've seen him in other things.
You have, like every other Japanese.
Even though it's a cartoon, I swear I've seen him in other
One
things.
Punch Man, Pokemon, you name it, you've seen it.
And then I was very confused by like the story. Were they all like gathering around to do a con? Were they involved in it? I was very confused. I was not. It didn't make sense to me. So it's a touch brown. Unfortunately.
Oh, okay, Spencer.
Well, you said Ocean's 11 meets Cowboy Bebop like it's a bad thing, and that actually was exactly what I was thinking. But I was thinking like that made me want to see it more.
Well, I said I was not joking when I said it feels like a combination.
Well,
I mean, usually I make that's a joke, but no, it's
but
not a joke.
it
It feels like a combination of Ocean's 11 and Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I'm actually kind of interested in this.
It took me saying that.
No, because I thought the exact same thing, and I was like, no. When you said that, I'm like, jerk stole my line.
No, I didn't.
No, we just had the same thought. Great minds and all that, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, but we may have the same thought, but not the same opinion. This one, I would definitely, if it was going to be coming out at one of the local theaters, I would go see this. But because I'm cheap, we're going to go so again. I'll find a matinee.
So. All right, which brings us to the 400-pound gorilla in the room this week, which is The Beekeeper. But before we get into that, let's recap, shall we, as they like to say. The night they came home, Spencer gave it a so-so. Rob, Tony, and I gave it touch browns. I did it my way. Spencer gave it a blah. Rob, Tony, and I gave it a touch brown. Tim, technologically integrated manservant, is a big brown streak. The Great Pretender. Spencer gave it a so-so. Rob, Tony, and I gave it a touch browns. I see a pattern here. And it's not a good one. So, which brings us to the big 400-pound gorilla in the room this week, which is The Beekeeper. In a short synopsis before going into the break.
We have the hard break hitting right now.
So we'll get to that when we come back. So don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Boom radio show coming up right after this. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Kaboom radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. And we're going over movies with Mr. Tony Sanfilippo, Filippo's Horrible Reviews. You can catch all of Tony's reviews for 2024 on his Facebook page, Filippo's Horrible Reviews. And we are doing... Huh?
Said horrible.
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 And we are going through the movies that are coming out January 8th through January 14th. And just to recap again real quickly before we get into the 400-pound gorilla in the room this week. First up was The Night They Came Home. Who's home, though, because they didn't go back to their house. Spencer gave it a so-so. Tony, Rob, and I gave it a touch brown. I did it my way. Spencer gave it a blah. Tony, Rob, and I gave it a touch brown. Tim, technologically integrated manservant. All of us gave it touch browns. The Great Pretender. Spencer gave it a so-so. Tony, Rob, and I gave it touch browns. And now we're at the 400-pound gorilla in the room this week, The Beekeeper. And in The Beekeeper, one man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers. Anyway, well, we now know Jason Statham can count to 3 without using his fingers or stammering to find that next numeral. Just kidding. I'm sure he's a very smart guy, and I don't want to get throat punched. However, I do question his acting ability. He's always playing the same character in what seems like everything. No, really, he does. I'd like to see a movie or even a video game, a side-scroller of him just walking, playing the usual character he plays, and while he's walking, he's attacked by every movie villain he has ever had to face. Because basically he is the same character in every single movie.
What was the movie that he had to keep his adrenaline up in?
Oh, Cranked.
Crank. Yeah, so basically that's Crank right there.
And Crank 2.
And Crank 2.
And Crank You. Anyway, and now that would be priceless, but I digress. The Beekeeper is continuing 2024's string of super government retired agents with menial jobs who, for some reason, get back in the saddle without a sign of rust. Since this is the 3rd or 4th one like it in 2 weeks, it's going to be an automatic touch brown for me. I don't care who's in it. Tony, what say you?
Oh, I pictured Nicolas Cage and the whole "not the bees" line, but instead of Jason Statham doing Jason Statham things. Fights, guns, action, accent, charms. If you like Jason Statham and you've seen his films, well, this looks exactly like all the others. So the action looks good, and if you're into it, it's for you. For me, I gotta give it touch brown, man. It just seems unoriginal.
Yeah.
Oh, same stuff.
Throw in Death Race in there too. Don't forget Death Race.
Don't
Same
forget
character.
Yeah, you gotta have the car level.
I like him, but it's legit the same. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm flatlining with you, Jimmy, this week. I'm on the streak.
Yeah, we both are. We've flatlined. All right, Spencer, what say you? Not the TBs, not the TBs.
Well, I do agree that Jason Statham does need to expand his range a little bit.
And I thought I had the range of a Daisy Air rifle. Then we got him.
Yeah, but it's like if a system is corrupt, he comes in to correct it. So basically, what he's saying is that if you have a problem. And if no one else can help,
solve it.
And if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Beekeeper. It sounds like he's supposed to be a one-man A-team, and I much preferred the A-team. But and I have to admit, I kind of fell asleep before I actually got to go see the 4th Expendables. Where he was playing the same character but with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah, forgot about that series too.
But I want to give this a chance, but I will do so at home where I can fall asleep in peace if it sucks. So blah.
Blah. Wow, okay.
Because I like Jason Statham. I want to give him a shot. But...
Rob, what say you?
Yes, it's Jason Statham doing what Jason Statham does best. Himself. So, yeah, it's a Jason Statham movie. There's going to be some quick some good one-liners. There's going to be somebody gets blown up. There's going to be some innovative way he punches somebody or shoves them into something unique. So, you know, I mean, it's a Jason Statham movie. You go into it knowing it's a Jason Statham movie. I don't think if you go into it expecting like Oppenheimer, you really sadly like disappointed. But, you know, if you go in knowing that it's a Jason Statham movie, you're completely suspended with your disbelief that, you know, he actually can play another character. It's going to be a great movie. For me, I personally would probably not see this in the theaters, just because I don't have the time. But yeah, I'm gonna probably end up watching it when it comes out on streaming. So blah.
Okay. And the 400-pound gorilla lives up to its name as it gets 2 blahs, which is better than every movie this week.
Which is really sad.
Yeah. So to recap, the beekeeper, the 400-pound gorilla, Spencer and Rob both gave it blahs. Tony and I both gave it touch browns. And so, yeah, the TBs. Anyway. So that is your movies that are coming out. Next week, January 15th through the 21st, we will be talking and being subjected to Cult Killers, Sunrise, Founders Day, Wanted Man, not the Bon Jovi song plays, and Bring Him to Me. Bring Him to me. Grr. Yeah, so. Oh, and Eric says, Jason Statham throat punch a giant shark. And, you know, Statham is back in the new Transporter. And that just adds fuel to my video game fire right there. Yeah. He's walking, a giant shark pops up, punches it. Then he hops in a car, does a little
It'd actually probably be a very popular game.
Spy Hunter. Oh, it'd be an awesome game. Don't you think, Tony?
Oh, for sure.
See, that's Jason Statham theme music right there. That's all I got to say. Anyway.
For sure.
I suddenly had
Another good thing would be an RPG game called Statham. It's just out. Yeah. He's got to build up, and it's just like you said with the villains. I totally thought of that when you were saying that, Mike. Yeah.
Gotta level up the throat punch.
Fun little RPG.
All right, if anybody gets inspired by this, I get 10%. As all.
No, he should do like a Guns Akimbo where it's a POV from like your Jason Statham. Like that's the next movie that he needs to do.
Oh yeah, like hardcore
Harvey.
Yeah,
or Henry or Harvey.
Yeah, hardcore Henry. Yeah,
yeah, that movie was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I actually enjoyed that. It got weird.
Well, that's what I mean. But like, could you imagine? Oh, wait, I get to kind of pretend I'm Jason Statham. I'm totally going to see that movie.
Yeah. An RPG where you have to level up your throat punch to eventually be able to take out the giant shark.
Now Eric wants to play Spy Hunter. Thank you, Tony, for chiming in with the music there.
No problem, buddy. No problem.
All right. Anything big coming up as far as for with your reviews for movies, television, or concerts?
No, nothing booked anytime soon. I've got a lot of concerts this 24 season, but nothing, I think, until May for concerts. So those will be kind of dormant for a bit. Movies, we'll start getting into the bigger ones, I think, at the end of January, February.
I know that, I think, Dune 2 comes out in March or something like that?
Yeah. So we'll start getting some good ones. I know Ghostbusters, Frozen Kingdom
Empire
comes out in March. I'm excited for that. So
I forgot about that one.
But no, nothing going on. I've been trying to get through the What If. I'm halfway through those. I don't know if I like it as much as season 1, but that's really all I've had going on. During the holidays, we're really busy with family and traveling, so I didn't
get much.
I haven't seen anything a whole lot.
Well, that's fine. So you know what? One you might want to check out, Rob. I actually finished it. Is 30 Coins.
Yes.
If you want to see Bizarre, watch 30 Coins. It's in Spanish because it's HBO Europe, but it's
okay.
It's
awesome,
interesting. It's a different take on a lot of things, and it revolves around the 30 coins that
he said it's
Judas
kind of an
got.
Anthology series kind of thing.
No,
right?
it's not an anthology.
It's not an anthology.
No. So it's based off of the 30 coins that Judas got and some kind of weird powers that they have. And the ending of season 2 is just absolutely bizarre.
It's very much reminiscent of like Guillermo del Toro, like creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Hellraiser, too.
Yeah. And it's very well acted, like superbly well acted.
So Hellboy meets Hellraiser. Interesting.
But yeah, it's fabulous. I love it.
It's different. I was kind of disappointed that that one cop guy got killed.
Oh, I know.
I was like, what?
I
Of all the people, you thought the guy with the slow-moving guy with the cane would get chopped up, but not him.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a shock death.
It was crazy that whole episode they killed off like a bunch of people. It was like, wait, him too? Wait, no. Like,
oh, the guy's face just peeled off. That was interesting.
Oh, I am going to have to get caught up on this, I think.
it is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like the second half of the second season takes place, like half of the season takes place in hell.
It does.
Huh.
It's
So,
very interesting. So, but yeah, you should check it out if you're into interesting, weird things like that. So, I mean, it was different.
It's good because there's not been a lot. I mean, we got Echo. That comes out.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's about it.
And I heard that was pretty good, but
I'm disappointed they're releasing it all at once, though, because it's kind of like...
I kind of figured that would happen. They would get back to doing that. That's why I don't do when I do the TV shows, I don't do... that's the reason why, because sometimes they're not. They'll come out week by week. Sometimes it'll be one a day. Sometimes you.
Well, they were doing
binge watch the whole
all
thing.
of theirs by week, and then this one it's because it's now part of their one-offs instead of their continuity. So,
But still, it's like 6 episodes, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, binge watch 6 hours of it. Woohoo!
yep, and
but
just
there's
be done.
possibilities because there is Daredevil is going to be in it. Some are speculating even Jessica Jones showing up. So,
Well, yeah, Disney did announce that the Netflix series do count in continuity.
Yeah,
now.
so-
Most everybody was assuming that anyway, but apparently Disney was the only people who weren't.
Yeah.
well, no, because there's
yeah.
also the shows that were on Prime that don't
Prime.
So.
Right.
Well, isn't that just Prime?
All right, sir. We'll let you go. We'll get back to whatever you're doing in San Diego. And
Okay, fellas. Well, I look forward to joining you next week, and then hopefully we can break the old TV streak there.
maybe not. This is so far this.
Maybe not. There's nothing called Tim next week. Beep, boop, boop.
Not
You know
the
what?
TV.
There's more
Not the
crappy
TV.
movies.
The TV's in my eyes.
Actually, I had 2 blahs last week. I'm surprised about that. I actually gave Night Swim a blah. And Bricklayer. Those were the ones. So last week it
I
was.
would only.
Wow, you would rather see the
I would be
Bricklayer over
shocked
the
if you gave a blood to a kids movie. Then you'd shock me.
Oh, yeah, that would shock
You
you. Huh?
gave some love to a crappy animation.
You
film.
never know what'll happen this year. But anyway.
I know.
Yeah,
I
so
wouldn't believe you.
So last week, these were the movies we had to. So I'm glad you didn't have to join us last week. The Painter, Bricklayer, Roadkill, Mayhem, and Night Swim. Those were the ones last week.
Yeah. Instead of
I've
a
actually heard
400-pound
Night Swim.
gorilla.
I saw a lot of advertising for that, but
Yeah, that was the
the
400-pound
rest of them
gorilla.
sounds so bad. Really?
Anything we're seeing on Netflix, it
Ugh.
depends on what you're into. If you're into the Korean horror, then yes, Eric, there's plenty on. There is a couple of different things.
Let's see, there's that Train to Busan. That's on Netflix.
Are you talking about movie or talking about TV
Oh,
shows?
nice.
Because
He's just saying anything worth seeing on
anything
Netflix.
we're seeing, Eric, obliterated. I'm telling you, 8 hours of probably the funniest TV raunchiest show I've seen in a while, and yes, it's funny. It's
Okay.
great.
What was that one I was thinking of? There's one Korean one that was set in an apartment building where people were turning into monsters. That was really interesting. I can't remember.
Home.
Sweet Home. That's
Home.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw the first season of that. The second season is out now. I got to watch that. So that's worth seeing, in my opinion. Of course, Alice in Borderland was interesting.
Oh, that
one.
manga is good. I got to check out the show.
I've heard of good things about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the show was good, both seasons of it, and they set it up for a third, which will be interesting. When we'll see what happens with that, if that ever actually comes to pass. Yeah, so there's a couple of things out there. Oh, you're welcome, Eric. He says thank you. So there's a couple of things for you. Seen it. Alice in Borderlands. Okay, well then watch Sweet Home. You'll like that. And there's another new one too, the Yaya or Yo-Yo something or other that just came out.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, that's on Netflix too.
Yeah, it's based off of an old
And
anime. Yeah.
Another one that I know I just added, it just came out Friday, was The Brother's Son.
The Brother's Son. I heard about that. I haven't seen anything on it though yet, so that's another one I got to check out as well.
I'm writing down all these so I don't forget them.
Yeah, there's definitely some good ones on there for sure. See, good suggestions.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Well, it is almost time for our big interview. So we will talk to you again next week. Have a safe trip back to Colorado. And you and I will be looking forward to football season next year.
We're both riding the pod. Let's ride. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Broncos are out. They'll see you next year, and somehow the Jaguars managed to lose 5 out of 6 games to completely get out of having the AFC South conference locked up and a playoff spot. And now they're going home.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
so disappointing. But anyway,
that is a disappointing end. I mean, especially with the talent there and the way it was going in the beginning, it definitely fell apart. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah,
I'm not. Do I sound surprised? I mean,
no.
I got what I hoped for at the beginning of the season. They finished 9-8. So as long as they finish 9-8, I'm okay.
We threw our season away. We basically, we were all like, we need a new quarterback. And then we're like, maybe Russ is the answer. Nope, he's not.
I could have told you that.
Now we just screwed ourselves. Oh, man. Now we're sitting at 12 as our draft pick when we probably could have been top 5. But, oh, well.
Not with the way some of those teams have been playing this year. I mean, the way the Cardinals and the Rob. But anyway, it's time for that hard break, sir. Top of the hour. We will talk to you next week. Have a safe trip back to Colorado. And if you are listening and you missed any part of the show so far, please check out the Pop Culture Kaboom podcast. It is available on your favorite podcast provider from 97 and Now Productions. And more Pop Culture Kaboom radio show right after this. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Boom radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. And on the line with us right now is retired broadcaster and author and filmographer, filmmaker, Mr. Bill Brown. And how are you, sir?
I'm well. That's a long list you had to read there.
It is, and growing longer. I didn't go through all the book titles. There's 13 books so far that you've put out, if I have counted correctly, with number 14 on the way, called The Child. But the most recent one that you released is After the End, which is out now. And so that's just one of the many things that you're involved in. But let's get started with that. So you're an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster. And so how did you go from doing that to being an author?
Well, actually, that's kind of a fun story. It began, the first book that I wrote was Blood Mountain. And I had been to see the movie Jaws like 4 or 5 times. I went home, and I went home and I decided, well, if people are going to be afraid to swim, I can make them afraid to go into the forest. So I wrote it and patted myself on the back for finishing it, put it away. And then 40 years later, after I retired, I was looking around for something to do, and my wife found the manuscript, and she said, redo this. And, you get a smile out of your wife, you're happy, and that's what I did, and all of a sudden it became an obsession, and I write like 2 to 3 hours a day now. It's just, it's therapy, it's a way to deal with oncoming age, shall we say. It just it keeps your mind active, and I loved beginning with stories that all had Nevada hooks.
Nevada hooks. I'm kind of curious because I noticed that a lot of your books, you start off with the writing of them. It kind of pertains to a real life event that happened, and then you kind of go into and turn it into a supernatural thriller from there. Is that kind of like was that a deliberate kind of correlation between the broadcasting of news that you used to do and then kind of incorporating that into your writing? Was that just a kind of a natural occurrence?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. When we did Blood Mountain and rewrote Blood Mountain, that's based on the Lovelock Cave, which I'm sure that many people are familiar with, and the Native American legends about that, and the giant's bones that were found there that disappeared, but there are pictures, and whatnot, and it was fun to write about that, but my early books all include people who are more or less marginalized, and they rise to the occasion, realizing that they can contribute to the safety of all of us, too. So, yes, it's all born out of covering stories and seeing people who feel that, we just don't have that much to offer when, in fact, they do. And as the writing progressed and we got into different stories, I still tried to keep that local hook going. And there are a couple of books. For instance, the one before The Gate, which I finished within the last 6 months, takes place in Virginia City. And it features people that I know, with their permission, of course.
Of course.
And, of course, yeah.
No names were changed to protect the innocent? Or?
No, not in this case, no. It was a ton of fun to write about one of the most haunted towns in America and to have people up there embrace it and enjoy it.
What was it? I've talked about it before on the show with like Paranormal NV. I don't know if you remember that show that was on television for a while, a local paranormal investigator show. But they were on my show before, and I brought it up to them about the water babies of Pyramid Lake, and I really haven't seen anything like that pertains much to the mythology behind the water babies. And hopefully, I'm giving you a story idea.
Oh, that's entirely possible. Thank you.
So, but you do focus a lot on stuff that happens around Nevada, like you mentioned that your Blood Mountain had to do with the Lovelock caves and the mountain and giant bones that were found there. But what about things like The Beasts or It Waits, Gabriel's Horn, A Walk in the Twilight? Are those also some way? How are those tied in with Nevada?
Well, let's go ahead and we'll talk about the second one I did, which was, if you will allow that, The Alien, and that was based on an actual incident that's in Project Blue Book. In the late 50s, a UFO came in over Oneida, New York, and then exploded over Nevada when it was being chased by jets, military jets, but what if it didn't? So that entire book there begins in Nevada. The Beasts that you were asking about brings back the characters associated with Nevada, but they are fighting a new evil that is in Chicago. It's called a Special Forces Intervention Team, and it is largely composed of Native Americans and former Green Beret and that sort of stuff who are sent into situations where no one has an answer. So, and then you were talking about It Waits. That same team heads down to the Navajo Nation and is involved with skinwalkers, of all things. So, there are certain things that Native Americans really don't like to talk about, and it took a lot of research, and I eventually got that together. But there's always a Nevada tie, even with Lightning, which is another book that features a UNR professor who is hit by lightning twice.
Very unlucky
and
professor.
Should be dead. But when he touches you now, he can see your past, your present, and part of your future. And so he's drawn into a situation where there is an oncoming great evil, and he is enlisted to fight that. So there are clear Nevada connections after the end. The most recent one, which follows the gate, 4 women are fighting their way across the country after the climate disaster that was set up in the ship. And, excuse me, they've got their kids. They realize that they alone may be helpful in reestablishing civilization, but they're headed for a safe zone right outside of Truckee.
Outside of Truckee.
So, you know, it's the kind of thing where I try to work in a local connection into most of the things that I do, and it's just writing about what you know.
Okay, I don't know how you know about the end of the world, but okay.
Well, all you got to do, you know, my readers call, but they actually call me, and some of them write to me. For instance, when I did The Ship, which is about the oncoming climate disaster, the possibility thereof. And they said, will you stop writing about these things? They're happening now. And I said, they're always happening. All you have to do is look at the news, you know, take a look at the data and think to the future. So,
yeah, people don't like doing that, though. They like happy endings. So here's the synopsis for After the End. If you're interested in any of Bill Brown's books, you can go and visit www.billbrownnovels.com and check out all of his books that are there. Every single one of them, except for the latest, After the End, isn't up on there yet. But
I was loading that today, but there's a problem with the site. Do it again tomorrow.
That probably has to do with that solar event that's been going on, the solar activity. There's another novel idea for you.
There are so many ideas out there. You know, people ask me, what do I have to do to write a book? And I said, the only thing you have to do is sit down and write. That's all you got to do.
But yet that is the hardest part. That is all there is to it.
Well, yeah, that is, but it is also it's simple but not easy.
True. All right, so the synopsis for After the End. Less than a year after ghosts aboard a derelict ship floating in the Sargasso Sea. I'm mispronouncing that, aren't I? Sargasso,
but that's fine.
Okay. Well, Caribbean.
There you go. You're probably right. I'm wrong.
Warned of a pending global climate apocalypse, it strikes. Massive storms, raging fires, and melting glaciers bring the ocean currents to a standstill. Coastlines disappear, governments collapse, and anarchy reigns supreme. 4 women with 5 children begin a nightmarish drive across country to one of the only safe zones. They fight against all odds to protect the children and begin saving the earth. Murderous scavengers, deadly storms, and wildly advanced AI make for a rousing adventure in the struggle to save mankind. And that is the synopsis for After the End. So it sounds like a lot of your books, in one way or the other, kind of tie into each other. Have you ever thought about like releasing them as kind of like a book series, or like The Ship, and After the End as kind of a set so that people can keep track of the storyline?
Oh yeah, no, that's in the works.
Okay.
With the first ones featuring that special government team, they're all going to be grouped together, and this one, which is, I think if you read what I write, it's about good versus evil, and a lot of times common people take over the role of the hero and help save us all. So it's a fun way to do things, and it's a fun way for people to realize that they have more value sometimes than they give themselves credit for.
Awesome. And you could also pick up all of his books on Amazon as well. So you got another one in the works called The Child, which will be coming out soon. Any idea when that will be? I know that he's got that kind of.
I know, like exactly.
It's like you can't wait to talk about this one. Any idea when that one will be coming out?
It'll be coming out in the spring, and it's really funny because the idea for the book hit me before Christmas. And
not literally, right? It just
and to synopsize it, it's the story of what may be a second miraculous birth. Now, this child is growing at an exponential rate. At the end of 3 years, he's almost 30 years old. He's here with a message. And the way we're structuring the book is you will have to decide if he's divine or if he's an alien. All he will say is, I have a message, and it needs to be heard.
Are you human or are you alien? I have a message. But that's not an answer. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this much. The big-time money evangelists with the mega churches and the jets will not like this book.
Uh-oh. Ruh-oh, Raggy. That sounds like, okay.
But as a writer, sometimes the ambiguous part is being ambiguous is probably some of the more fun stuff to write.
That's true.
Yeah.
So with your books, because I tell you what, we got about a minute left until we have to take a hard break. Would you be able to stick around for another segment? Because we still got a lot more to talk about.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. And again, you can go and check out all of Bill Brown's books at www.billbrownnovels.com. He is also on the Facebook if you want to go and check out his personal page. Again, he is an Emmy award-winning journalist and retired from that profession, has become a novelist, has over 13 books out, working on number 14, which will be out in the spring. And he is also part of Lobos Coast Media, and we'll be talking about what that means and what they are doing as well. And so my first question going into this break to think about, since Lobos Coast Media does a lot of kind of film production, has there been ideas tossed around about translating some of your novels to film and or a TV series? So think about that, and we'll get Bill Brown's answer when we get back. So don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Boom Radio Show with Mr. Bill Brown of Lobos Coast Media and author of over 13 books. His latest, After the End, which is available now on Amazon.com. Go check it out, and we'll be right back with more with Bill Brown. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. On the phone with us is retired Emmy award-winning broadcaster, author, and partner in Lobos Coast Media, Mr. Bill Brown. And when we before we went on that break, sir, I posed a question. Your connection with Lobos Coast Media and the possibility of one of your novels or any number of your novels being translated to film and or television series. And your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, actually, the second novel, The Alien, which was the one about the UFO blowing up over Nevada, but did it, I actually wrote a screenplay for that.
Oh.
So that is being polished and hopefully will be submitted, and we'll, find out what's going on there. Again, it involves local people, fictitious names, but local people who feel that they're just at the end of their rope, and all of a sudden they're out there helping a good alien track down a bad alien. But the good alien is not too sure that Earth is worth saving. So during the course of the novel and the screenplay, he begins to become more human. So that screenplay is done. I've been told by several people that Blood Mountain, which is, frankly, if you ever have the book, don't read it before you go to sleep. And I've had several people write to me and say I should have listened to you. But several people said this is a great possibility for either a motion picture or a limited series. And Lobos Coast Media, of course, I'm working with, I believe, a friend of yours, Steve Funk.
Actually, he's more a boss than a friend,
Right.
But he's a friendly boss.
Okay, I'll tell him that you said that. But anyway.
Well, he's the program director here at KNBC, so I kind of have to do what he says.
He's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
And we've known each other for many, many years. And I have...
You got to say it like Carl Sagan, though. Many, many years.
Yeah, well, Carl Sagan, okay. I have all this video equipment from when I was shooting on the coast and I was producing these hour-long scenic videos for people, just so they could relax. And Steve and I were wondering what we could do with that. And so we love to shoot for nonprofit organizations, which we give them, let's say, a hefty discount over what any other production house would do. And we have all the bells and whistles and the toys that we can work with. But right now, this time of year, that has slowed down. We'll see what happens in spring. Steve has been very respectful of the fact that I'm doing so much writing. I'm a lousy marketer, but he's given me some space, and he's handling. Well, he's your program director. He's handling the business for Lobos Coast Media, and when he needs me, he calls me.
Okay, so you're kind of the directorial camera guy, and he's the one setting up all the gigs.
Yeah, pretty much so. And he's always there. I have a bunch of remote stuff that he can use. And we have another friend who was Steve Duvall, who was a shooter on The Great Race and many other shows. And he lives in this area, and we're hoping to work with him. He's been a friend for many, many years, too. So if a nonprofit needs us and gives us a call or gives Steve a call, we'll take a look at it, tell him what we can do. But it's great to get out and help people that need it. And that's a luxury when you are retired. So,
yeah. And with that being said, so you've written up the screenplay for it to be a series. Any chance of bringing on people to have that, kind of realized through a Lobos Coast media production of any sort?
I haven't approached it that way. I wrote when I was writing the screenplay and taking a look at the lead character. Jeremy Renner was the guy that I wrote the screenplay about. His ability to act. He's such a marvelous talent. Mm-hmm. So I will have to figure out, because he's so involved locally, at least get his advice, and that would be nice, and I would enjoy that. And he can tell me what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. Some other people have looked at it. Some indie producers have looked at it, but the special effects and everything are above what they can do. Ooh. So they all liked it. So, it's baby steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and unfortunately with the film industry, things take forever sometimes to get actually anywhere. So, all right, so we talked about that with Lobos Coast Media. You did a lot of filming on the coast for various things. You're an ocean lover, I assume, I'll give, but it's mostly on the West Coast, though. Have you been to the Caribbean or anything like that?
Well, I've been on cruises down there. There's something magical about that stretch between Carmel and San Simeon. It's 90
Rob's
miles.
nodding his head yes in agreement with you.
It's my favorite
I personally
vacation
haven't been
spot.
there,
Like,
so
that's the only place I ever go to visit back when I go to California.
really,
Yeah.
see, for me, it's always Key West.
It's magical. If you drive this stretch, it is magical. There are many places to pull off and just watch the wonders of nature.
I'm gonna have to check that out
So
sometime.
I'll be recutting those and adding music packages to them.
Oh.
And eventually we'll be streaming those under Lobos Coast Media. It's already showing in a couple of dentist offices around town. And
Cool.
in particular, mine, they won't take it down, so when I'm in there, I'm totally relaxed. But that's great.
Well, it gives the people a reason now to go see their local dentist. That's it's not for the dental reason. It's to watch what's on TV. Yeah. So, I'm kind of curious. With all the novels that you have out, do you do any kind of in stores or any kind of like conventions or any kind of signings anywhere?
Oh, yeah, we do signings. We just finished one before Christmas over at RPM, Reno Public Market. And it was enormously successful. We're planning another one with them for Art Town. We did our first with them for Art Town, so that'll be in July. And another good friend of mine has some ideas, and I think he's been on your show, Stephen Provost.
Yep.
Oh,
Provo.
yeah.
Yep.
Provo, yeah.
Twice actually.
Yeah,
He's
it-
been on the show so far.
Yeah, just a great couple, just a delightful couple, and what a talented writer they both are. So, we're discussing the possibility of getting other authors involved and staging various signing events around town. And, it will depend on, it's kind of a seasonal thing, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, after this last weekend where we got like a couple inches of snow here down in the valley.
Yeah.
Currently,
Yeah.
right now, it's 14 degrees outside, but it's clear. But yeah, that is definitely seasonal. So
It's 14 down there.
yeah, it's 14 degrees.
Oh, it's 23 up here.
Well, where are you at?
so-
Well, that's what my laptop says anyway. Hold
Well, at
on.
least it's still on the positive side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because
I'm
I have down in L.A. The guy who usually the engineer and producer of when I go down to L.A. to record. One time I was on the phone with him, and it was up here, and it was about the same temperature here, and he's like teeth chattering and freezing and whatever. I'm like, what's the matter with you? He's like, it's cold. I'm like, thinking he's in L.A. I'm like, what's the temperature? He's like, 12. I went, Celsius? Because you're in L.A. What do you mean it's 12? It's like, no. He called me some names I can't say on the radio, and then proceeded to tell me he was in Nebraska. And I'm like, what are you doing there? You're supposed to be in L.A. So,
I spent a year in L.A. My wife is a nurse. She was working at Cedar Sinai. So we lived on Wilshire Boulevard, right across from the Screen Actors Guild building and everything. We loved it there. The problem was, if you wanted to go to the beach, which was 3 miles away, it took you an hour to get there.
yeah.
So, it was one of those things where home just sounded better, and we came back home.
Home sounded better, and be able to get someplace in less than an hour that's only 5 miles away was always a good thing, too. That's when I moved here from the Bay Area. That was the first thing I said. It was like, it took you like an hour to get like 5 miles down the road on a 101 or wherever in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And then I moved here, and people like, yeah, I got to drive down from Tahoe. I'm like, and
Yeah. Or
what's the
when you're
problem?
in radio, they're like, I came all the way from Sparks. Okay.
Yeah.
It took you, 5 minutes? I'm very confused.
Yeah, so it was very confusing. So, the people from Tahoe are funny because back then, speaking of the Ponderosa Ranch, I'm like, what are you, Hoss? You got to saddle up a horse to ride down to Carson City? Come on. You just put your car in neutral. You can be down here from Lake Tahoe in 30 minutes. I mean, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, really.
So,
I started in radio.
really? No, I didn't.
Yeah, I was. There was. I forget the call letters for the station. It was up on the side of the hill, opposite Hug High School up there.
Oh, KOZZ, the old.
It was in the same building.
It was in the same building as
in
you.
the-
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the same building, and it was country and western, which I knew absolutely nothing about. But they gave me the midnight till 6 shift, and I was never really sure that anybody was listening to me. So one morning at 3 a.m., I slipped in some Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze.
And you found out.
That was my very first bomb threat.
Wow. Okay. See, I couldn't imagine because there's only two forms of music I cannot tolerate, and that is reggae and country music. And because both of them have the same meter, it's music for insomniacs, in my opinion. If I can't sleep, I'll put on country music, and that'll, I can fall asleep to that. So I could not imagine doing a midnight to 6 a.m. country western station gig. I would be asleep within 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I can't believe
there's not enough coffee in the world.
I can't believe somebody calling it a bomb threat at 3 a.m. just because you played some Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, and especially country western.
Country western, they take it very
We're looking
seriously.
at what, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, somewhere in there. And
that's when
bomb threats were just not heard of at that time.
Yeah, and that's when they really took their country western seriously. It's not like nowadays where it's rockin' country.
Yeah, remind me to never pause Slim Whitman without a warning again.
Oh yeah, no, promise me never to play Slim Whitman ever. Period.
But some Conway Twitty for you?
No. Or who was
But
that?
the man could yodel. I mean,
Okay, him and the Swiss Miss can have a yodel off. Well, we're talking with Bill Brown. If you want to go and check out any of his novels, it is BillBrownNovels.com. If you want to go and check out Lobos Media, Lobos Coast Media, they have their own website as well, www.loboscoastfilms.com, all one word, as of course. You can go and also find Mr. Bill Brown on the Facebook. Just go and look up Bill Brown and look for the guy holding the camera. That's pretty much it. And, sir, I do appreciate you coming on and talking about your novels. After the End is your current one. The Child is coming out this spring. I would love to have you on in the spring when that is available to talk about it in more detail.
well, I want to thank you both very much for having me. It's been a great time, and I will look forward to that.
All right, sir. You have a good evening, and thank you again for being part of the show.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, sir. You take care. All right. So, what do you guys think? Are you going to go check out Bill Brown's novels?
I was already looking them up. A lot of them are available for Kindle Unlimited. So.
Well, there you go. I guess we're going to know what Rob's going to be doing.
Well, Kindle's a beautiful thing. It saves me a lot of space on the bookshelves, and my bookshelves are already overstuffed.
Overstuffed.
It makes it easy too, especially if you're not thrilled with the novel.
Yeah, but these sound interesting.
Yeah.
So I like like my next novel is going to have a Nevada connection in it. This will be my first short story, my first professional story that was ever published was set in Reno.
Oh, okay. Well, that ought to be interesting. When are you going to have that out?
Oh, that should be hopefully later this year. I'm hoping to have the mange out around Halloween. I'm hoping.
The main what?
The Mange is the name of the
novel.
novel.
The main. I thought the main out. So I thought what I thought you said.
I'm
the mange.
I'm hoping.
Out.
I'm hoping to have my next novel out around Halloween because it's a horror novel. So that just seems like a good proper time to do it.
Okay. So you're gonna have your thought, or how's the game going?
Oh, doing good. Just got working on developing the single player mode, and hopefully at Kaboom Con we'll get some play testing done.
All right. Okay, everybody, it is time for that last break of the night. Still 20 minutes of show left. Still lots to talk about, so don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Kaboom radio show coming up, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. And during the break, I was thinking about it. You know, I brought up the Water Babies of Pyramid Lake, and he, you know, the stuff that Mr. Brown is writing about with the Alien and all of his interconnected novels that have something to do with Nevada or Nevada mythology or lore. It's always interesting. You never really think about how much lore and mythology there is in your state until you hear somebody who's actually writing about it.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Okay, that went nowhere.
Well, no, it's just interesting because, you know, everything from ghost stories to tall tales and stuff or something you don't really think about day to day, but when you hear about them, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like the if you like go out east up Highway 50 or somewhere like Winnemucca or somewhere like that, and they're like the some fossils or something like that.
Well, you have Big Basin, not the state park Big Basin, which is over near like Winnemucca area. So.
Yeah, and then wasn't there like some dinosaur fossils or something?
Well, that's where
there?
the Ichthyosaurus.
Yeah,
you know,
Ichthyosaurus, which is a ocean.
Right.
Yeah. So it's hard to think of the high desert literally being at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
That's not at some point, you know, millions of years ago.
Well, my dad.
No, you got to say like Carl Sagan, millions and millions of years ago.
My dad has always like looked for like local authors. So like that's one of the things. Like whenever we look for presents for him, we always look for like local authors that have different takes. Like his new one of the ones that he's actually doing right now is I can't remember the name of the author, but she writes a series of books about all of the different houses of ill repute, so to speak.
You mean the brothels?
You know, and stuff like that. But like how the women were actually empowered and stuff like that in them. So
They were?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were actually in control. So
well. Never mind.
It's interesting, you know, like to learn, you know, because
especially
the
business was handled
early
differently
times.
then. Let's put it that way.
Especially about
you know what I
early
noticed
times.
something weird about Virginia City. If you go to the graveyard up there, there's a lot of graves up there that where a lot of people, various ages. There wasn't a fire or there's nothing about any kind of natural disaster or anything, but a lot of people died on Halloween. I saw like 10 graves up there at least that had the same year and date, all of October 31st for people's deaths, which was kind of weird. Came up with an interesting idea for a book myself out of that, but anyway, I digress. All right, so Ravensburger revealed 2 new releases on the way for the popular Disney Villainous series, as players will be getting 1 new expansion and a starter set. First off, the expandalone, in quotes, is called Sugar and Spite and will feature King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph as the primary villain, as he also is represented in shadow on the Scarlet cover art. But it only comes with 2 villains as opposed to 3, as there has been in the past. Meanwhile, the second release will be called Introduction to Evil, as it features a new streamlined gameplay system and comes with the video tutorials that will be available online sometime later this year. This one was originally introduced as the Disney 100 edition in 2023 for the lucky few who own it, as this is designed to be more welcoming for beginners. Disney Villainous Sugar and Spite features King Candy from Disney's Wreck-It Ralph and Scar Khan from Disney's The Jungle Book will become the franchise's newest expandalone when it debuts in June. A special edition of the game featuring a candy bar themed packaging sleeve and exclusive finish on King Candy's mower will be available exclusively at Target. In addition to the new expandalones, Ravensburger will also offer an option for new players with Disney Villainous Introduction to Evil. First released in 2023 as a limited Disney 100 offering. The game will be available nationwide in August at mass retailers and hobby stores. Introduction to Evil has been refreshed with video resources and streamlined gameplay designed to be welcoming for beginners. Does it sound like I keep repeating myself? Because it seems
they're
like
definitely paid by the word for this article.
It includes a lower price point and a refreshed box, and it reintroduces some of the franchise's first Disney villains: Maleficent, Captain Hook, Ursula. She wasn't one of the first ones. Anyway.
In the villainous game, she was.
Oh, okay. And Prince John. Who is Prince John?
From Robin Hood.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
The changes incorporate fan feedback. Andy Ravensburger teams learning from developing the game for over 5 years. Okay. So, with 2024 having now begun, Mickey Mouse has now entered the public domain, at least partially. The iconic Disney character's first appearance, Steamboat Willie, has seen its copyright expire, which means that creators around the globe can now begin using Mickey with their own creations. Wasting no time whatsoever, one game developer has now capitalized on this situation by creating a horror game associated with Mickey, coming from developer Nightmare Forge Games. A new horror title called Infestation 88 has been revealed. The game is pitched as a co-op horror experience where players will control an exterminator treating sinister infestations caused by twisted versions of classic characters and urban legends. One of those twisted characters that will be seen in the game is a deformed version of Mickey Mouse, who appears in garb that resembles his look in Steamboat Willie. Generally speaking, the game has quite a bit in common with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is a horror film that launched in 2023. Following Winnie the Pooh entering the public domain, currently Infestation 88 doesn't have a specific launch date, but it's planned to arrive at some point in 2024 exclusively on PC via Steam. When it does release, it will also be coming about in early access at first. Nightmare Forge Games says it then plans to have this early access phase. Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, just thought I dropped something and going senile in my old age.
Okay. This early access phase run between, I thought mice were running around or something. Speaking of horror films.
Infestation 88, no!
Early access at time, Nightmare Forge Games says it then plans to have their early access phase run between 6 months and a year, at which point Infestation 88 will then see its 1.0 iteration go live. Go live!
It's always interesting how when something, at least of late, gets out of copyright, it immediately goes into horror.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm in the movies. I'm sure it's because, relatively speaking, of course, horror movies are relatively cheap to produce, and you don't exactly have to set the box office on fire to be profitable. Because of
you
that,
just have to
generally.
Just have to have good something. I mean, what's usually good gore effects? For if they're practical, the more practical, the better, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. From big box office, blockbusters to indie films, I think that's the way to go. Really,
sometimes
CG is a little too over relied on, I think, these days.
Oh, speaking of, that was the only thing that took me out of that whole thing was when at the end there with the big fan. That looked so fake.
Talking about 30 coins again?
Yeah,
or?
30 coins.
Okay.
Oh, we knew you were going through the fan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That looked so fake. I was like, oh, really? Well, I see where their budget didn't go on this effect. It was just so horribly done. Anyway, more Disney news. Disney's Steamboat Willie already has a second horror movie parody in 2 days of 2024. Another horror movie featuring the public domain version of Mickey Mouse was announced earlier this week. Variety reports that Stephen Lamorte is directing a yet untitled horror comedy based on Steamboat Willie. The premise of the movie is the iconic mouse-hunting unsuspecting ferry passengers. Production will roll in early 2024. Lamorte is not a stranger to public domain horror parodies. He directed The Mean One back in 2022, a take on the Grinch. Last year saw another of Disney's public domain characters, Winnie the Pooh, star in a horror movie, and this will probably not be the last time you see the iconic mouse in grayscale this year. In fact, if we keep up at this rate, there will be 366 different Steamboat Willie parodies by the time we call it quits on 2024. Steamboat Willie has brought joy to generations, but beneath that cheerful exterior lies a potential for pure unhinged terror, Lamorte wrote in the release. It's a project I've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to unleash this twisted take on this beloved character to the world. Now, this has been a major source of easy laughs on the internet, but Disney has remained firm that there won't be any abuse of their other copyrights in these parodies. The company released a statement by a spokesperson that argued that while Steamboat Willie and Plain Crazy are fair game, the later iterations of Mickey Mouse and all his friends are absolutely not.
Yeah, the gloves stay off if you want to be able to use
And
Mickey.
they are watching.
Oh,
because
yeah, they are.
one of the ones already had his video taken down for 24 hours, and then it was put back up. But, yeah.
Oh, so they're worse than Toho.
Yeah, but they of course, because it was when they determined that it was Steamboat Willie's, then they released the ban on it.
But yeah, they'll pounce at the slightest hint that the copyright.
They always say, Disney lawyers have the most money. So
Yes,
and apparently way too much time on their hands. Ever since Mickey Mouse's first appearance in the 1928 short film Steamboat Willie, people have associated the character with Disney's stories, experiences, and authentic products. The spokesperson began, "What will not change when the copyright in the Steamboat Willie film expires, more modern versions of Mickey will remain unaffected by the expiration of the Steamboat Willie copyright, and Mickey will continue to play a leading role as a global ambassador for the Walt Disney Company in our storytelling, theme park attractions, and merchandise." They added, "We will, of course, continue to protect our rights in the most modern versions of Mickey Mouse and other works that remain subject to copyright. We will work to safeguard against consumer confusion caused by unauthorized uses of Mickey and other iconic characters." Even with that said, people are turning up in rows to make Steamboat Willie parodies. On Monday, Mickey's Mousetrap debuted trailer for a horror comedy film starring the iconic mouse. The trailer features someone dressed up like Steamboat Willie attacking a victim and lurking menacingly inside of its amusement park. Boy, this is a poorly written article. The whole project is dancing on that line of parody, but as long as the mouse is grayscale and they don't mention Disney by name, there will be no repercussions yet. KHR talked to the film's director, Jamie Bailey, about the upcoming film project. Okay, good for them. All right, let's get to some lists before we run out of time here, if I can. Let's start with games, because there's only one. Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game Dungeon Master's Screen Dungeon Kit. This kit equips the Dungeon Master with a screen and other tools that are perfect for running D&D adventure through dungeons, whether ruined or thriving. The Dungeon Master screen features a painting of a fantastic vista that plunges into the deep reaches of a mountain. Useful rules references cover the screen's interior with an emphasis on dungeon delving. DM screen is specially designed for dungeon delving, with tables for encountering monsters and exploring ruins and dungeons. Features 36 punch-out dungeon geomorphs cards with pathway connection points, perfect for planning a dungeon during game preparation or for coming up with a map in the middle of play. Customized double-sided dry erase sheet offers unlimited versatility for technical gameplay. Numbered grid for sketching maps or placing random encounters or treasures to one side. Okay, yeah, I know. We got 2 minutes and the music ain't coming up for some reason. Very odd. Oh, there it is. All right, so this concludes our first show of the year. A big thank you to our guest, Bill Brown. With all guests on Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show, Pop Culture Kaboom follows and or likes them on Facebook, depending on what options are available. So as they post news about their career and projects, it is reposted to the Pop Culture Kaboom news feed. So at the very least, like and follow Pop Culture Kaboom on Facebook to keep up with all of the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show's guests. Next week, the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show will not only have for you the latest news, information, and releases from the 7 pillars of pop culture entertainment. We'll be talking with the co-founder of Dream Seeker Productions and executive film producer Carter Alvarami. We'll be talking with Carter Alvarami about Dream Seeker Productions' past, current, and future film projects, as well as what Carter Alvarami looks for in scripts as an executive film producer. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and please continue supporting Pop Culture Kaboom by listening to the Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show live every Sunday night And you can catch the Pop Culture Boom podcast produced by 97 and Now Productions on your favorite podcast platform and get not only in this episode but previous episodes and some bonus material while you're at it that will be added very soon. Also give it a like and a follow to Pop Culture Kaboom on Facebook for everything you want, everything you need from Pop Culture Entertainment Daily, and subscribe to the Pop Culture Kaboom YouTube channel for video interviews from events we have and will be attending, and stuff will be posted this year, I promise. On behalf of Quizmaster Scott from Sporkle Pub Quiz, Samuel from Galaxy Theaters, Tony Sanfilippo of Filippo's Horrible Reviews, and our guest Bill Brown, KNBC, Spencer, Rob, and I, thank you for your continued support and for tuning in tonight. We will talk with you again right here live next Sunday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time, anytime during the week on Facebook and via email. So until next Sunday, be safe, stay healthy, and peace out, Wabbits.